Diesel and Cole Bryson.
On the Fan Upstate.
Well, the trade deadline has come and gone, Cole. Some teams got a haul, and some teams are leaving their fans saying, y'all, what do we do? Hauls and y'alls, winners and losers from the trade deadline in Major League Baseball. Welcome into the show. He's Cole Bryson. My name is Diesel. You Tolos watching on the stream and listening over the air. However you're checking us out, we appreciate you being a part of the show as you are every single day. A big-time show lined up for you here on this Tuesday edition of the show. By the way, tomorrow, Cole, you're going to be out in Landrum for Ingles Markets, of special Ingles Markets, because we got another special guest coming out on location with us, something we're excited to tell you about. But, Tolos, those of you up in the Landrum area who've been saying, hey, how come you guys never come up our way? Well, it's happening tomorrow.
Tomorrow, baby. I love Landrum. Landrum is that small town I would love to live in if it weren't so far from everything. That's the only – I mean, I no kidding aside, I love Landrum. Here's
what you do. You become the king of Landrum by moving there and then getting everything to come to Landrum.
It's perfect because there's not a lot there. Landrum's a small town, and some of my favorite restaurants are in Landrum. Really. I love Landrum, man, and I just wish it wasn't so far. I love the little old town of Landrum.
Yep. Going to get into trades here in this segment, but Panthers coming up in the very next segment. What happens for Dave Canales and Bryce Young if our predictions come true from yesterday's show? Tarik Skubal has spoken out about the Dodgers and whether or not they're ruining baseball. We're going to play that audio for you. And big-time guest, Cole, we'll have home team Brandon Leak to talk about these Braves, getting that local perspective from the Atlanta market itself. He's coming up at 4:20, so be here and be a part of the show. But Tolos, you can always text in. You can always call in, 844-326-3663. Some hauls and y'all, what are we doing here for Major League Baseball at the trade deadline? Cole, hauls and y'alls, who you got as your hauls? Just surface level, these teams absolutely crushed.
Well, I think the obvious one's the LA Dodgers because of them striking gold once again, and when you're able to strike gold not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times, you consider yourself pretty lucky, or you have an unfair advantage. You ever watch those old Westerns where they're striking for gold or mining for gold, Diesel, and somebody's got a little of advantage? Maybe he's, there was an old one. I remember the guys digging for gold, mining for gold. Well, he's not telling anybody when he finds gold. He's sticking them in places. He's sticking the gold between his toes. He's sticking it in his pockets, and that's what the Dodgers are doing right now. They're finding gold every single year, and of course, like we said yesterday, it's not their fault. But no, you have to start with them. With them getting Skubal, I mean that was the best guy out there, and they're definitely, in my opinion, the biggest winner from this entire week.
Yeah, getting Skubal and then getting a former All-Star in Chris Bubich, who's a little bit banged up. And a lot of the guys that moved around from team to team were a little bit banged up, but most of these guys, their seasons are not over, right? They wouldn't be traded for if their seasons weren't over, if they couldn't go in the next probably 15 to 20 games. So you got to think in the next 2 to 3 weeks, if these guys are not on the field, they wouldn't be being traded for. But the Dodgers also got former All-Star Chris Bubich, who is on the 60-day IL. They'll be able to stash him away for a little while. I haven't checked to see the status of his contract, if they'll have control of him going into next year or not, or if it's, a hope that in the last 50 games or so of the season and then on into the postseason, he'll make himself available and become available. But they got some catching depth, which they sorely needed. They got Hunter Fiducia from the Tampa Bay Rays and Ben Rortvedt. When I think about what the LA Dodgers did, Cole, my brain a lot of the time works in movie references. You know this. Our Tolos know this. I think about that all the time. When I think of what the Dodgers did to Major League Baseball, I think of this image right here that I'm popping up on the stream. I think of the Hulk grabbing Loki by the feet and just smashing him from side to side to side to side. Yeah. I mean, this pitching rotation is so deep that you're right. I don't see how they're beatable off the mound. I mean, these are going to be some low scoring. You better score in every single opportunity against the rotation of Tarik Skubal, Yamamoto, Blake Snell, Justin Wroblewski, Tyler Glasnow. It is a ridiculous rotation.
And again, going back to what we said yesterday, We're not blaming the Dodgers, but at the same time, it's just not fun. And again, I'm bringing this from a Braves perspective here. If you're a Braves fan, would love to hear what your perspective is. It's just not only the Braves, anybody else. I mean, like, let's be honest. The Phillies had a good deadline, but they stink right now. I think I told you who winner number 1 was in the Dodgers. I think the Boston Red Sox probably are winner number 2. They had a good deadline, but let's call it like it is. Let's say Boston gets out of the American League. Boston had a really good trade deadline. They had a really good acquisition in Yadley Rutschman, but the problem is they're not beating the Dodgers. They're not going to do it. And Adley Rutschman's a really good player, number 1 pick in 2019. The bright future. He's been hurt a lot this year, but like that's the problem. You put the Dodgers over to the side, and then you look and say, oh, okay, this team did well. I think Milwaukee did well. The Red Sox did well. This team did well. But does that even matter? Does it matter if you're having to go play an all-star team? Think about that. If the Michael Jordan all-star team of his era every single season got to play the best team out of the NBA, that's what it would be like.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, the dream team taking on that's
Suns
one of the last times the Knicks were really good. We're back in those days.
When the Suns were good, the Pistons were good, whatever. Them take on the dream team. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's God.
Think about it this way, though. As much as people are giving the Dodgers a hard time, and it is not the LA Dodgers' job to make sure that life is fair for everyone else.
Sure.
They don't care. The ownership and the GM of the Dodgers' job is not to keep the other 29 teams happy or the other 6 or 7 teams that could possibly be pushing for this. It's not his job. His job is to work within the rules that he has to build the best possible team that he could. And if he doesn't do that, he's not doing his job.
I'm with you.
Right?
I'm with you.
So,
I mean, again, I'm not blaming them. It's just, it's frustrating. It's frustrating.
I mean, think about it, though. They were, with as good as that team was last year, they were within 2 outs of losing the World Series.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
baseball's still baseball.
They are beatable, and some of these guys coming off of their injuries, the starting pitching lineup for the Dodgers, maybe they don't come back as fast as we think they do. Maybe they injure themselves. We don't want somebody to get hurt, and we don't want them to lose the World Series because of that. Okay. Sorry.
Let's rethink that. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Kind of. But let me say this real quick. They've won back-to-back. I think they've got a good chance as anybody win back-to-back, three-peat this year. Here's the difference. You said they're beatable. Yes, they are beatable. I believe in 1 night, 2 nights, I believe that this team is beatable. But when you talk about a 5-game series and a 7-game series, I think that's where this pitching staff and the lineup, you've got several Hall of Famers on this team, like several.
Yeah.
And I think when you get into a 5-game series, a 7-game series, that's where you start running into, oh, do you have enough depth? Oh, do you have enough horses? Oh, do you have enough bats to consistently do it? You can do it once. You can do it twice. The Braves did it twice this year. They beat them twice, 2 out of 3. But can you do it 3 times? Can you do it 4 times? That's tough.
In a 7-game World Series, if you've got 2 aces, that's 4 games right there. I mean, they're going to start games 1 and 2. Yeah.
Like the
get a couple
Braves,
nights off.
Like, let's say the Braves play the Dodgers in the NLDS. Yeah. The Braves will get Chris Sale twice. And you got Chris Sale twice, and then the rest of the series, you're relying on who? You're relying on the guys that haven't been great this season. So that's where the frustration is for Braves fans and other organizations too. Same thing with other organizations. You've got good pitching across the league. You've got good pitching in both conferences, the AL and the NL. But is that pitching, is it good enough to go against those cats? Do you have the depth to go head-to-head for a 5-game series or more? I think that's where they have a huge advantage.
Cole, let's bring it here local to our Tolos and the team that most of our Tolos are fans of. I know that Major League Baseball fans are sort of splintered all over the place, but this is Braves country here. Is this meme that I'm about to put up on the screen too harsh for the way Braves fans feel right now? This is
Who is that?
That's the meme of Barney from How I Met Your Mother. You know, he's pulling up the rope and he's, offing himself a little bit.
I couldn't tell what he was doing. You could really come up with a couple of different illustrations in terms of what he was doing there. Well, I'm just saying. I didn't know what was going on in that picture, but now I understand.
He's
if he didn't have his mouth open, maybe it wouldn't be as bad. but I I mean,
are you casting aspersions on Neil Patrick
Harris?
No.
No. I think that's look.
Is that the right way for them
do Braves
to feel
fans
right
want to kill themselves? No, but my gosh, I tweeted out last night. The reason it's frustrating is because in Major League Baseball, Diesel, here's the why as to why Braves fans are very, very upset.
Mm-hmm.
In Major League Baseball, it's hard to win a World Series. It's very, very hard. And when you feel like you have a team to do it, you want your ownership and you want your GM to be all in and push all the chips to the center of the table and say, F it, let's go get it. The Rams have done it. The Rams are an organization that just say, F those picks. They go get the guys. Look at their defensive line this year. If that other guy that's retired comes back and decides to play again with a Myles Garrett, that's going to be the nastiest defensive line. The Rams are an organization that are willing to say, you know what? Screw it. Let's go do whatever it takes to win this thing. Now, they have money. They're in LA. They have money. Similar situation with the Dodgers. They don't defer money like the Dodgers do. But I think the biggest frustration is this is a good Braves team. And this Braves team's still going to win a lot more games this year. Like, they're going to be in the playoffs, and they're going to win the division, I think. They're, 8 games up, 8 games up now.
So you're saying championship series is their ceiling at this point? You say
they're not getting out of the championship.
Win the divisional series, not getting out of the championship series.
No, they're not.
Look, I mean, the Braves, they did address their needs, right? They got arms, but they didn't get any stud arms. They didn't get starting arms, right?
Yeah, and that's the problem. Now, they'll get to, I think they've got a very good chance, but if they were to play the Phillies right now, is that who they're I think they're matched up to play if the season were to end today, maybe I don't know if it's Chicago or Philadelphia. I mean, you don't just feel fabulous about either one of those matchups. The Phillies, they're not a good team right now, but what's baseball going to look like in 2 months from now? You know, things look a lot different in September than they do August.
I'm glad that you mentioned the Phillies because I just so happen to have a meme for that too. And that would be this meme right here of very
Oprah?
Confused, concerned looking Oprah. Because
she's young in that one.
She is young.
Yeah.
The Phillies are going to have to move a lot of pieces around. Think about this. The Phillies brought in Luis Arias. We talked about him already. They had to send a prospect, a reliever, a prospect and 2 relievers out the door. Bryce Harper is going to move back to right field for the first time in 2 years. Bryson Stott is moving from second base to third. Third baseman Alec Baum is moving to first base. Yeah. Harper's going back to right field. He even said, I think it was yesterday or the day before, on his road trip, he goes, I brought my outfielder's glove with me. Like he was prepared, and hey, good on him for doing what it takes to win for the team. But I mean, that is a tremendous amount of infield movement and player movement at this point of the season.
Well, here's the difference with the Braves versus the Phillies or anybody else. There are other teams out there that made moves at the deadline, and maybe it's a good move. Maybe it's a good move now. Maybe it's a good move 2 years from now. The difference is the Atlanta Braves were in a position where you felt like, okay, would you have had to mortgage your future to go get a Tarek Skubal? Maybe so. But if you were to have gone and get a guy, even if it were a rental player for this year, guess what you could have done? You could have went up toe-to-toe, head-to-head with the Dodgers this year, and you could have been able to BYOG, bring your own guts, and feel like you can go toe-to-toe with a really good team. You beat them to a 3. Now, 3 is different than 5, and 5 is different from 7. 3 is really different from 7, right, in terms of the amount of games you play. Do I trust the Braves even when they were hot back in April to win a 7-game series? Nah, I don't know. Against the Dodgers, with that depth, I don't know. They still have, like I said, several Hall of Famers. The difference is between the Phillies and even the let's say the Red Sox. I think the Red Sox are a really good team. I don't feel as if those teams, though, were in the same position the Braves were in. The Braves were in a position where if they're healthy, as you saw just a few months ago, they're the best team in the major leagues. They beat the Dodgers 2-3. They were the best team in baseball. The Braves were the best team in baseball this season for several months of the year. They had the best record. They were number 1. They were beating everybody. And Diesel, they hit that big slump. They got injured, but guys are starting to come back. So I want to say this again. If somebody just tuned in, if you're a Braves fan, I think the Braves are still really good. I think they're going to win a lot more games. How many ever games there are? You said it yesterday. I forgot how many.
It's 50-ish.
50-something games
Yeah.
left. I think they're going to win a lot more games. But when you get into the division round, you're in the same side of the bracket as the Dodgers. If you were playing them in the World Series, maybe the pressure's not the same. Maybe you're okay, but you're not getting – we saw in 2021 how hard it is to do that, how hard it is to get to the World Series when you have to go through the Dodgers. I mean, we're not in the AL here. We're in the National League, and Diesel, I will say it is do they have a shot to beat the Dodgers in a NLDS? They've got a shot. Is it a long shot? Yes, in my opinion. It's a very long. I think it'd be one of those series where everything would have to fall right for the Braves.
So the Braves, again, for those of you who are just catching up, just coming out from under a rock, Tyler, help me out here. I still can't pronounce his last name. Tyler Mahle?
Mahle, I believe it was Mahle.
3-9, 5.13 ERA, comes over from the Giants. They bring in Brent Suter from the Angels, who's got a 4.12 ERA. He's only got a 1-2 record on the season. And then a right-handed reliever from the Red Sox, who spent a lot of time in the minors this season. I don't know that that's the guy that's gonna get you across the finish line. It's gonna be able to shut the Dodgers lineup down in the later innings if they make it that far. I feel bad for Eli White getting sent to the Red Sox. I don't feel bad for him because he's going from one really good team to another really good team, but he's effectively being traded for a guy who very well may not pitch for the Braves this year.
Yeah, Boston was interesting. I think Boston was. I mean, they got hot. And Philly, I mean, Philly's interesting too, but Philly is really bad right now. I don't consider Boston really bad. Philly went into the trade deadline looking for a righty, right-handed hitting outfield kind of guy. Philly did, and they ended up with a left-handed hitting infield guy. So it was a little bit different in terms of what they were looking for. But I think they still got good talent, and I think the Braves, like, was it a horrible deadline? I don't think it was a horrible deadline. You did get some pieces. I just don't know when it comes down to October. I don't know that the pieces that you got, Diesel, that's what it comes down to right there. The pieces you got, the Atlanta Braves, are those pieces going to be able to help you beat the LA Dodgers? Are those pieces? That's going to be tough. The Padres, they were looking for offers for Mason Miller. The setup man they have. I mean, there were some winners yesterday, but it's hard to focus on the winners when the Dodgers did what they did.
Yeah, and Alex Anthopoulos goes on the radio in Atlanta, 680 The Fan, who, again, we're going to be joined by Brandon Leak from 680 The Fan coming up here in the 420 segment, so just about an hour from now, saying that, well, I'm not trying to win the PR battle. I'm not trying to go after the big splash acquisition. Well, guess what? When other teams inside your own league are doing that and you're not, you put yourself behind an 8-ball. And, you know, I know that if the thought process was we're really going to make a push in the offseason, we want to keep the prospects that we have, we think we may be able to make the championship series this year, we want to make a push in the offseason for another big-time arm, that's great, unless we're headed towards a lockout, which is where we're headed. So Braves fans might not see their team on the field until 2028.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Tolo J. Butane gets in on the Joy Law Firm text line, going back to our Landrum conversation about being at Landrum tomorrow. He says, give me a good spot to eat in Landrum. Tolo J. Butane, if you've never been and you are sincerely asking, I will. If you have been, I mean, Landrum is known for like really good little spots. I would say Hare and the Hounds, number one for me. Hare and the Hounds, my favorite, maybe in the upstate. One of my favorites in the upstate is really good. So check out Hare and the Hound. It's one of my favorites. They also have a good barbecue place and a couple other good spots as well. Keith and TR Diesel says, keep in mind, my Red Sox just swept the Dodgers and got better yesterday. We're coming for October. Well, Keith, guess what? You answer this for me. When will you have to play the Dodgers? You know?
World Series.
Right. So that's my point. Like, I'm not saying it's easy to get there in the AL. I'm not saying that. But when you don't have to play them until the World Series, it is a lot easier, okay? It is a lot easier. And the Yankees, like if they were really, really good in your division, or Baltimore, who's a good team, even though they traded their 2019 first-round draft pick, that's fine. Like, let's say, for example, the Red Sox, who are a good team, who are they going to get in the division round? I don't even know. I'm not looking at the Angels or the Cleveland Guardians. That's one of the teams maybe they would play in the division. I mean, maybe you get the Orioles, and I'm not looking at the matchups, but you're getting a division round game where you feel like you're the better team. And then when you get to the wild card, when you get to the division round, like you're still going to be maybe one of the better teams in the division. I mean, I don't know. The AL, Texas isn't great. They were playing good, but there's not the big bad Goliath that you have to go through, and that's the difference.
The Yankees didn't get the catcher that they wanted, and Bob Nightingale is reporting that Aaron Judge is still battling his fractured rib and might not return this season. The Yankees are done. Wipe them off the board. The Yankees are done. Now, the fan bases that I feel bad for, Cole, I feel bad for the Tigers fans because they were 2.5 games out of the wild card spot. They trade away 2 really, really good starters in Skubal and Mize. And they trade away Gage Workman as well. I mean, they basically gave up on the back half of the season. The Tigers gave up, and that is pathetic on their part.
They did, and that's why you heard Skubal say, you heard him say a couple weeks ago, Diesel, that he did not want to be traded.
Mm-hmm.
He did not want to be traded. I just looked it up. If the 2026 MLB season ended today, the American League playoff would feature the Rays, the White Sox, the Astros as division champions. The Yankees, Red Sox, Guardians, like, come on. What are we doing here? It's just not even close. And I'm not trying to pick on you, Keith, and TR, but come on. Like, this AL is totally different. It's totally different than are you scared of the Rays or the White Sox? They're good teams. You're not scared of them. The Astros aren't the same Astros. So it's just, I'm not saying that you don't have to earn it. You still have to earn it if you're in the AL. You do. But not having to play that team until you get to the World Series is a massive, massive advantage. And then you get them. And if you were to get them in the World Series, good luck.
Yeah,
good luck to you.
Hey, shout out to the White Sox and what they've done. Proof that tanking works in Major League Baseball. They've gone from ridiculously historically bad to being in the playoff conversation in just a couple of years.
Yeah. You used to think of the White Sox as, like you said, irrelevant.
More like White Sox.
Yeah, I mean, it was bad, really bad.
Orioles, too. Baltimore was always terrible. And then they trade away a number 1 overall pick.
Dan B goes to Tolo J. Butane's text about good restaurants in Landrum and says Side Street. The only problem with that is, Dan, Side Street's in Tryon, not Landrum. Close, though. Close. But I'm going to be the technical guy today. I'm going to be Mr. Technical and say it's in Tryon, not Landrum. Keith and TR says you don't have to go through big bad Goliath when you are the Goliath. LOL. Appreciate the text there, Keith. Diesel, I do ask a question, though. Yesterday on the show, you and I gave our predictions for the Carolina Panthers as their season starts in 2 days. Can you believe that? And I want to know, since we didn't really get a lot of time to react to our predictions, if mine and your predictions, if they come true, what does that mean for Dave Canales? What does it mean for Bryce Young if what we predicted comes true? We'll get into it next.
Upstate.
Well, Diesel, yesterday during the 5 o'clock segment, you and I gave our official predictions for the Carolina Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if all the Tolos in the audience realize this or not, but the Carolina Panthers season starts this Thursday. And yes, it's preseason, but the fact that there is going to be real football on the television this Thursday, like, doesn't that make you feel kind of giddy? I mean, come on.
It should. I don't know how many of the starters we're going to see because remember last year, Bryce Young barely played in the preseason. Well,
Yeah.
he didn't play in like games 1, 2, and 3, and then they played him in the 4th preseason game. Am I wrong there?
And especially, well, I think there was only three.
Three
I think they get 4 this year because of the Hall of Fame game. Is that right?
Skipped him in 3 preseason games.
Yeah. Look, we've talked about this before. I do not believe starters should play a whole lot in preseason. I don't believe that is what preseason is for. Now, you are going to see Kenny Pickett. And Kenny Pickett Thursday night, like, I'm not saying Kenny Pickett is this miraculous quarterback, but Kenny Pickett's, I think, better than a lot of your preseason quarterbacks that you'll normally watch during a preseason game. And he is a Super Bowl champion with the Philadelphia Eagles just a few years ago. I think he took a knee in that game. So he took a snap, right? He contributed to the Eagles when, did I say Philadelphia Eagles winning a Super Bowl? But,
and I dare any of you to call in and say that knee wasn't perfect.
Yeah, it was a great knee. I mean, he did a really good job there at the end of the game. And Kenny Pickett, look, I'm not saying he's going to challenge Bryce Young or anything like that, but I think it's an interesting story. When you have a guy like Kenny Pickett on the roster, they went and got him for a reason, and I think there's intrigue there. You have Will Grier as well. Will Grier from West Virginia. He was with the Cowboys at one time, and Kenny Pickett. It's just a weird quarterback room, isn't it? Outside of Bryce Young. Like, if Bryce Young goes down, hopefully he doesn't, but you've seen that happen before. You've seen injuries. So they went 8-9 a season ago, Diesel. This year, we made our predictions, and I asked the question, if our predictions come true, what does that mean big picture for Dave Canales, for this organization, for the Carolina Panthers, Bryce Young as well at quarterback, a big year for Bryce Young in 2026 in terms of, like, it needs to be a big year? You had them doing what? Your official prediction was?
I had them going 8-9
okay.
overall, 5-1 in the division.
Yeah, I think 5-1 in the division does, like, help a little bit if you are a 8-win team. And here's the reality of it, Diesel. If you're 5-1 in the division, even if you only have 8 wins on the season, guess what you're doing? You're hosting another playoff game at the bank. And that'd be 2 years in a row. Mm-hmm. Dave Canales and the Carolina Panthers would host a playoff game. Now, would people be, like, overjoyed with the Panthers if they won 8 games again and feel like they're a contender finally? No, I don't think so. I think, especially from a national media perspective, let's say your scenario comes true. They go 8-9.
8-9.
If they go 8-9, okay, they make the playoffs, but you have a losing record. I don't know if anybody in the national media is taking you seriously when it comes to the postseason.
No, and that prediction, there's certainly some juxtaposition there, right? Like you said, losing record in the regular season, great record in your division. I think then you have to pay Bryce Young a premium at that point, and it's sort of an undeserved premium. They're still in wait and see mode. He hasn't gotten his multi-year contract extension yet. They exercised his 5th-year option for this year. If he's at 5-1 in the division, regardless of the rest of the regular season, because this is a tough schedule for the Panthers this year.
It's tough.
Then it feels like they got to pay Bryce a lot of money, right? Doesn't it feel like it? Or you may be able to parlay him in a trade package, and I don't know that anybody's going to be willing to do that. So you're stuck with Bryce Young at that point.
I would say it's more likely if they were to go 8-9. Mm-hmm. I'd say it's more likely that Bryce does get paid than him get traded to another team. Yeah. Now, is, like, traded is still a possibility? Sure. But I'm telling you, man, unless something crazy happens, just the vibes I have, I don't think Carolina Panthers, I don't think they're moving on from Bryce Young. I just don't think they are. We've talked to Dan Morgan on this show several times, and I'm not saying like he's told us directly what they're going to do, but I just do not feel and believe as
Believes
if
is a country in South America.
It is World Cup knowledge. I don't believe that they're going to move on from Bryce Young unless he just comes out here in 2026 and lays a giant egg.
And that is a disappointing reality in my mind. Like, I understand that Bryce is good enough in situations to be really good and win you a couple games, especially in the fourth quarter. At times in the fourth quarter, he is otherworldly. He's out of his body compared to his first, second, third, quarter production. But I know that Bryce Young's ceiling is not that high.
Yeah.
Like, Bryce Young's ceiling is not Super Bowl. He is not even a Super Bowl appearance for Bryce Young. He is first round exit kind of quarterback in the NFL. So it bums me out that Bryce Young is probably going to do just enough not to get fired this year and get that contract extension. Let me rephrase it. He'll do just enough to get that extension. And then the Panthers will be locked to him for a number of years. And that is a disappointing thought. Now, that means you have your quarterback locked up and you don't have to think about it and you can go
two sides,
embarrass him with weapons.
Run.
Great. But his limitations are still his limitations.
Yeah. You have him 5-1 in the division. I have him, help me out here, Diesel, with your nifty fingers. I have him 1-0 at Atlanta. Next division game, I have them 1-1 at Tampa Bay. New Orleans, I have them winning that game 2-1.
2-1
at Tampa Bay. I have them winning that game 3-1.
3-1.
New Orleans win
4-1. How about that?
And then Atlanta win 5-1. So I also so that's interesting, and that's where I kind of second guess myself from yesterday's predictions. Like, it's a tough schedule.
The non-division is just ridiculous.
It's brutal. I don't know what to make of the NFC South, though, in terms of, like, I don't really have a lot of belief in the Falcons right now. The Saints, do I think they're going to be better? Yeah, I believe in Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore's the Super Bowl champion. I think he'll figure things out. And then the Buccaneers, like, it's a mess right there. I mean, they've got a great quarterback in Baker Mayfield, but I don't know that they have the weapons to what do I have them? Do you have them splitting with Tampa Bay?
I have them. Let's see. What's the division game that I have them losing? I have them.
Got to be Tampa. October 25th?
Yes, I have them losing November 30th.
At Tampa. Okay, yeah. I have them losing the 25th. I don't know. Like, do I think 7-10 still happens? I do 24 hours later, but I'm telling you, 5-1 in the division kind of, I don't know. 5-1 in the division seems bullish, doesn't it?
Dan says calling Baker great is a huge stretch. Baker has been pretty good for the Buccaneers. Great, maybe not the right word.
I don't know. I mean,
he's angry this year. An angry Baker plays great football.
I think he's been – I think there have been stretches where he's been a great quarterback. Is he elite? Maybe. No. He's not elite. But would you say that Baker Mayfield is only a good quarterback?
Would you rather?
I wouldn't.
Would you rather have, and Dan, answer this question as well, if you were a Carolina Panther staffer, would you rather have this Baker than Bryce Young?
I didn't even question.
The way Baker has played in Tampa, you'd rather have him back, right? You'd almost trade for him to get him back than have Bryce Young be your starter.
No doubt.
Right.
And
that's, again, that might not be saying a ton.
I mean, look, let's say, okay, let's park on that for a second. Is he great? You say no. I say maybe he is. He's ranked in the top half of quarterbacks when he's had strong seasons, 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns 2 years ago. Last year, 3,600 yards, 26 touchdowns. So to your point, comparing the two, Bryce is not as good as Baker. Okay, is Baker Mayfield not great? Maybe he's not great. Is he very good, Dan? I'll settle with you. I'll come on that. I will come to you a little bit. I'll give you a little leeway there and say that I'll meet you in the middle, okay? And I'll say, let's say very good. Let's say he's a very good quarterback. Maybe great's a little too bullish. He says true. Diesel, Baker better, or Baker playing better than Bryce. Okay, I agree. Baker is an elite. Very good. Okay, let's settle on very good. I think he's very good, and I think most people would agree with that. Is he great? I don't know, is great different than elite? I think it is. I think you've got good, very good, great, and elite. I think elite is only a few quarterbacks, right? But if my prediction comes true, Diesel, and the Panthers are 7-10, what happens to Bryce Young? What happens to Dave Canales? Nothing. They
Pretty
won,
much.
Yeah, I mean, not much difference than your prediction, right?
Dave Canales will look at it, and they'll look at Chicago, Detroit, at Philly, at Green Bay, Denver, Baltimore, Cincinnati, at Minnesota, at Pittsburgh, at Seattle, and say, well, that's a murderer's row of a non-conference schedule, a non-division schedule, and going sub 500 in that is excusable, even though it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be excusable in year number 4 of a starting quarterback.
Yeah, you know what I think is going to be the mark of the Panthers this season? This schedule, you said it, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday. The schedule is brutal, but I'll tell you what I think is going to define the Panthers. Are they able to win the close games this year? Are they able to win the games that are a one-possession game in 2026? Because I think, Diesel, even though I have them at 10 losses, I still think at 10 losses, they're going to be in a lot of games. I think they're going to be in the game to open up the year in Chicago or in Bank of America against Chicago. I think they're going to be in that game. I think they'll be in the game with Philadelphia. I think they'll be in the game with Tampa Bay. I think they'll be in the game with Denver. I don't know if they're all one-possession games, but I think Carolina's on the fringe, and fringe teams can hang with teams. They don't always win those games against good opponents, Diesel, but I think this year we're going to look back on the Panthers and say, man, they just lost a lot of close games. I could see that Seattle game being closer than people realize, than people predict. I could see the Pittsburgh game being close.
But isn't that who they were last year?
Well, the thing about it is last year it was a year where, okay, you made the playoffs. So really, I'm not saying like everything else doesn't matter, but you made the playoffs last year. Mm-hmm. So guess what? Here's what happens. When you make the playoffs, it cures a lot. It cures a lot. And if you don't miss the playoffs, then you're sitting back thinking, what if? What if? Now, to my prediction, if they're 7-10, but 5-1 in division, are they once again in the playoffs? Yes, they are. At 7-10, the Panthers would be a NFC South host site in Charlotte at 7 wins. Think about that for a second. So if you make the postseason, a lot of those issues you have, it's not as bad. But when you miss out, you think, what if? Yeah, they were in a lot of close games last year, but I'm just telling you, I think they will be better in areas, but I also think the injury bug has already hurt them a little bit. And you look at last year, like close game against Arizona. That's the game you should have won. You know, I remember that game. Mm-hmm. Should have won that game. New England wasn't close. Miami was close. Dallas, you won that game. No, Miami and Dallas, you both won. The losses, okay, last year the losses, 16 points, not close. Arizona close. New England not close. Buffalo not close. New Orleans close. San Fran, meh.
So maybe close losses. I'm actually thinking back to the 2024 season.
Yeah.
When they had a lot of close losses to good teams.
And I think that could be and that could be true this year. But to your point, it is year 4 of Bryce. Is that right? And
correct.
You want to figure out how to get out of that, I don't want to say slump, but that like pattern of not being able to win those close games. I just don't know if they have the roster, the talent on the roster to do that.
And maybe Ted McMillan takes another step. I mean, that's still putting a lot of pressure on a sophomore wide receiver in the NFL, considering the fact that you didn't really add a ton more around him to be an elite wide receiving core. You know, not much has changed considering the injuries and considering that, you know, some of the guys that you want to step up and take another step haven't done that for the Carolina Panthers. I don't know how much better they can get on the receiving room.
You got to be better up front, first and foremost. You got to be better up front. You've got to have a good run game. Your run game was not bad at times last year, but they've got to be better up front, period. And I think they addressed that in the first round of the draft. And guess what? When you're good up front, it covers up a lot of areas on your football team. But when you're bad up front, oh boy, we saw that for the Gamecocks last year. Things just fall apart. So it's going to be important for them to be able to come into the season early, I think, with that offensive line, a younger offensive line, and establish their identity up front. If they can do that, they can stay in some close games, and maybe they can win them. But if they can't, I think Bryce could have a mediocre kind of year.
Am I reading your text correctly, Tolo J. Putane? Is he saying 12-5 for the Carolina Panthers?
Ooh,
that is a bold prediction, sir.
Well,
bold.
with that schedule,
yeah, that's not going to happen.
Wow, that would be bold.
Going to happen. Hey, Dewey, if you want to talk about the Braves, if you want to talk about Alex Anthopoulos, the next segment would be a great time to call in because we're going to get back to the trade deadline. Tarek Skubal finally spoke out, Cole, and he's basically telling everybody to shut their damn mouths when it comes to other teams not drafting him and the Dodgers breaking baseball. We'll get into that. Plus, what did Alex Anthopoulos say about not making the big splash acquisitions? We'll finish off the first hour with that next. Again, Tolos, if you got something to say about the trade deadline, now is the time to call in 844-326-3663. A lot of people, Cole, in Detroit are angry at the president of baseball operations for the Tigers, Scott Harris, for not, well, number one, for trading Tarik Skubal, for number two, trading away Mize and Workman as well. But they're upset, Cole, that they didn't work the deal a little bit harder, that the Tigers let Skubal go basically almost, 48 hours before the trade deadline actually happened. And he is now having to defend himself in the media as to why he didn't choose to wait and push this thing all the way up to the hour right there, the last minute before the trade deadline happened. And he's fighting back, Cole.
I will say this real quick. If the Braves fans, we talked a lot about the Braves in the first segment, and rightfully so, they should be upset, in my opinion, but even more so, the fans of this organization and what you just said, not getting more than they got, yeah. I think they maybe should be more upset than Braves fans. Like you didn't get much of anything for one of the best pitchers in baseball. That is embarrassing.
They got a couple of prospects. One, I think the one that they're most happy about is Zaire Hope, but he is at best the fifth best outfield prospect, or was the fifth best prospect in the Dodgers system. They got a handful of prospects for an elite starter. And this is what Harris, Scott Harris, had to say about not pushing the deadline for better offers. He said, quote, "There wasn't any need to stretch it any farther. The organizations that were involved were extremely aggressive, and they put in what I believe to be their max offers. And then they added to those offers and got to the point of almost audible pain when they actually produced their best bold offers. And they gave it to us, and we pulled the trigger. The notion that we should have waited 24 or 48 hours later and extracted more value, that's garbage. That's not how these negotiations work."
So a lot to unpack there. Not how negotiations work. I do, and we were talking about this a little bit with AA yesterday. I do think there's truth to, we as fans don't know what the conversations are. We don't know how the conversations go. We don't know how the negotiations work. So, of course, we're quick to knee-jerk, react, right, a lot of times. Not how the conversation. What was the last part of that again? The very last part?
He said the notion that we should have waited 24 or 48 hours later and extracted more value, that's garbage.
Garbage because of his perspective, right? And I think that's what needs to be the in line there, because of his perspective. Maybe it is, but at the same time, not getting more for what you lost. I mean, there's truth in that, and there's truth to that too.
Like, I don't know who's going to pitch for the Tigers. Are they going to have to call up, AA and AAA pitchers to throw off the mound for the Tigers?
Yeah, and I'm sure the Tigers fans are upset too, because like you said a few minutes ago, they were a team that, like, they were still in wild card contention.
2.5 games back.
They didn't think they were going to win the World Series, but they thought, okay, hey, we can make a run, maybe get hot at the right time with a good guy, a good pitcher like Skubal. Maybe we can surprise somebody.
Maybe the hope, and basically all we know about it, Cole, is from watching Moneyball and what those phone call conversations might be like between GMs. I know it's different, much bigger stakes at the trade deadline. Maybe their thought is, okay, we'll lease Skubal to the Dodgers for a couple of months, and then we'll bring him back on a new contract to Detroit, and we'll have this extra piece, or actually these extra pieces, and we'll be in better shape. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe that's what they're thinking.
I could see it. See it. But isn't that risky? Isn't that risky? And that's, you talk about risk, like managing risk there. My goodness.
What if he's great for the Dodgers and the Dodgers say, okay, we'll just defer, $150 million worth of salary for you?
Yeah, and I think that's going to be interesting too. The last point on Skubal is, like, what happens with Dodgers, or with the Dodgers and Skubal when the season comes to an end. I think, or maybe it's before that. I don't know. Maybe it's happening right now with the Dodgers. I mean, they can work it out anytime, The
Dodgers could cut maybe somebody else go and keep Skubal on their roster. But here is Tarik Skubal himself, when, people, of course, have been asking him, like, hey, are you involved in breaking baseball? Here's what Tarik Skubal said.
Every team could trade for me. Every team could make that acquisition. I don't really sympathize with people that blame the Dodgers for anything they've done. You know, they've developed a really good organization. They draft well. They acquire talent really well. They retain talent. It's a winning organization. Now the complaints seem to be because they've won the last 2 World Series. You know, I don't think it was like that 3 years ago. So I don't really sympathize with people that are complaining because the Dodgers, you know, do all the right things.
They do all the right things.
I mean, again,
he's not wrong.
He said he doesn't feel sorry for people who are mad at the Dodgers. Well, that's not the point. We've said it a million times. We're not mad at the Dodgers. We're mad that it happens. And that's the point. We're mad that it's allowed to happen. I'm not mad at the Dodgers today. I mean, they, like you said in the first segment, they didn't do anything wrong. Like they're within what the organization's allowing them to do, right? But it's still frustrating, Tarek. It's still frustrating. I can tell you that, buddy. We don't appreciate it. We don't appreciate your comments that are there either, especially us Braves fans.
You know, I heard a clip, or Buster Olney was on with Mike Greenberg this morning, and he said fans are frustrated. This is from Buster. Fans are frustrated. Players inside clubhouses that he's talked to, they're like, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I mean, they're a great organization. They do the right things.
Yeah. And maybe that's how a lot of people feel. It is. Maybe it is. Diesel, 50 executives in the NFL ranked 35 veteran quarterbacks in 2 tiers. And we love a good tier list, especially in the offseason like right now. Do we have any pushback? I know we will. This is a fun one. What did the 50 NFL executives get right? What did they get wrong? That's next. Well, the executive opinion matters more than everybody else, right? What are we talking about? The NFL executives made a tier list. I guess they had nothing else better to do. They were very bored, Diesel, of their shrimp cocktails and wine.
Yeah,
So they said, hey, let's make a list.
I was gonna say, what are they rating here? The shrimp cocktails, the prime rib.
Yeah, they got bored of that.
Yeah,
They had to do something else. So this is from The Athletic. And The Athletic owned by the New York Times. So this article came out today, how 50 executives, Diesel, and coaches ranked 35 veteran quarterbacks in the NFL. You know, this is kind of similar to the coaches poll in college football in a way. You're not ranking teams in the NFL, or you're not ranking teams in the NFL like you do in college with the coaches poll, but it's sort of similar in a way because it's the opinion of the coaches and the executives that created this tier list.
Okay.
So they have broken 35 veteran quarterbacks down into 1, 2, 3, 4 tiers. And this kind of goes back to an earlier conversation in the show with Dan B. Dan B said, it might be a stretch calling Baker Mayfield great. And maybe it was. Maybe Baker Mayfield's categorized as a very good quarterback, not a great quarterback. But Diesel, how we react to what 50 executives, what they say about these 35 veteran quarterbacks. Shane Barrett says on YouTube, I'm prepared to be angry at this list. Shane, who's your NFL team? Do I know who Shane's NFL team is? Am I forgetting? Diesel, do you know?
I don't.
He's an Auburn guy.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Shane, are you a Panthers fan? Or I'm forgetting. I usually can associate fandom with Artolos. But for whatever reason, he's a Jags fan. I do remember that now. And I know Dan B, we associate Dan with like Wisconsin, Nebraska.
Dan's a Broncos fan.
He's a Broncos in Nebraska?
Fan.
Is that
yes.
right? Broncos, Nebraska.
Yeah.
So I can remember some of our Tolos. Like I know Rick and Greer's Clemson, Dewey, obviously Carolina, Tom. I mean, how can you not know where Tom's affiliation is? We still don't know Tom's NFL affiliation, though.
Right.
We've got to find that out.
Hating on the Panthers pretty hard yesterday.
Really hard.
I think he had him going like 1-16.
Yeah, he was really, really tough.
Absurd.
It was really bad.
Tough.
And I would say for the most part, a lot of our Tolos, I can tell you, Hurricane Jeff. I mean, obviously some of those are really easy, but I can remember most of the fandoms where they lie when it comes to the Tolos. Dan B says, looking at the article now, not sure I agree with some of it, but it's not an out to lunch list at all. So let's go through this, Diesel. I have copied it on the rundown from The Athletic. You have to have a subscription, I believe, to view articles on The Athletic.
Yes.
I signed in, so I don't know if I'm paying or if I have a free trial. Hopefully it's a free trial.
Oh, man, we need to do – what is that company that will go through all of your subscriptions?
Yeah, purge all mine.
And we need to do that for Cole live on the air.
That would be good. That'd be a good segment. That'd be a really good segment. There are apps that do that. You know, you download the app, it goes through your bank account, and it finds all the subscriptions you have. I did that probably 5-6 years ago. Shane Barrett said Rocket Money.
Thank you, Shane.
Is that the one you were talking about?
Yes, that's the one. Rocket
I
Money.
have seen that one advertised. And I don't know why my camera, for those on the stream, I don't know why it keeps zooming back out. I'm sorry. I don't know. Sometimes this is a new camera.
That is strange.
It's
Send it back.
Now, I will say this camera does keep popping up an error. And I don't know if it's calling me ugly, but it says, failed to enable the beauty. Please close all programs that may be using the original camera video stream and try again. So I guess it's calling me not beautiful. Sorry for those watching the stream that see the camera zooming in now. All right, let's get the list. List.
Yes. They wanted to get in on that great like the football coaches poll money. You know, like everybody's talking about this AFCA
and
poll.
here we are. Leprechaun Lyman gets in on the Joy Law from text line and says, I'm surprised Dan B's NFL team isn't the Jets.
That sounds like an insult.
No. That's a good one. That's a good one.
You know, Dan,
I like that.
I mean, nobody wants to
That's
voluntarily sign up to be a Jets fan.
That's a pretty good one, though. Pilot, Jet.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. How 50 executives and coaches ranked 35 veteran quarterbacks. If you just tuned into the show, welcome in. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. Tier 1. Do we Diesel define Tier 1 as elite? do we define? Is that how we? Craig says Cole is the heir. Well, there's no beauty, I guess, to enable that platform on my camera app. Do we look at NFL quarterback tiers and say tier 1's elite, or is elite too high of a tier? Like elite, in my opinion, is only like if you say the all-time elite quarterbacks, there's only a few of those. Elite is like better than great.
I would
in
say
my opinion.
Elite, and we really need the parameters of this list. Are they talking about active players and what they've done in their past, or how good they expect that they will be this year? Because I could look at a few guys on this list and say,
I would say probably not how they expect them to be. I would just, you know what I mean?
And it's because Joe Burrow is on the tier 1 list.
And I don't think that's fair.
Right.
I don't think it's fair to rank them based on what they could be this year.
Yeah. I mean,
I think
how much does this change from year to year to year if you don't rank it on what they could be?
Well, it does change. It does change year to year based on last year's results. Obviously, like Jaden Daniels obviously fell a little bit. I don't think what they do this year or what they could do should be factored into it at all. I really don't. What have you done for me?
I would look at an elite quarterback in the NFL as a quarterback who you expect to be in the divisional round or the championship round every single year, regardless of what changes happen to the roster. Like, I mean, legitimate changes, not the crazy scenario of what might happen, but the normal everyday changes. A wide receiver retires, a running back gets added to the roster. You can make these changes and they will have their teams in the position to make a deep playoff run every year. That to me is what elite means.
Okay. See, I have a different definition of elite. You have elite. When you say elite quarterback, and I'm not saying that's not a part of it, but your definition of elite is different than mine, where yours is more team driven, team aspect, them being in this position or that position. And that certainly matters. My definition of elite is more skill, looking at the skill of a quarterback. Is he elite at what he does?
Okay.
Do results matter? Sure, they matter. That has to matter. But I look at it, the individualized skill of a Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. And the reason I disagree with you on the definition is because, like, Joe Burrow hadn't been near the Super Bowl in the past few years. I think Joe Burrow is an elite quarterback in the NFL currently. So it matters. Again, it matters. It's just not like the end-all, be-all for me. So with that being said, 50 executives and coaches ranked 4 quarterbacks in Tier 1. Now, again, Tier 1 might not be how you define elite. You might say elite's better than Tier 1, but we're going off of what they said, okay? Tier 1, Diesel, these executives have 4 quarterbacks: Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford, and Joe Burrow. I would expect, not putting words in their mouth, I would expect some of them to feel as if Tier 1 are elite quarterbacks. Whether they think they're great or elite, that's for them to know in their head and decide. But Mahomes, Allen, Stafford, Burrow, Tier 1, you're leaving some really good quarterbacks out of that list. Do you have a problem with any of the quarterbacks that are in that list as being Tier 1 quarterbacks?
The only one that I have a problem with is Joe Burrow. And it's because Joe Burrow is constantly hurt. Who is it? Shane Barrett on the stream says Joe Burrow could easily be Tier 1 if he stays healthy. But he doesn't stay healthy. You have to be available to be a Tier 1 quarterback in my mind. So, I mean, I wouldn't put him lower than Tier 2, but I certainly wouldn't put him in Tier 1. And if they don't have a set number of guys in each tier, but if I had to move somebody up right now, I don't know who it would be. I mean, I don't think I could take anybody else and put them in Tier 1.
And if you're watching the stream, I've put the tier list on the stream for you. Thanks to our producer, ChatGPT. He did that great work for us in a matter of seconds. A pretty good list there, as you can see, a good visual for those 47 people watching the show. I understand the injury aspect, and I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad Shane brought it up too, because that's a big part of it. Your best availability, Drew Brees said it. Your best, I'm sorry, let me start that over. Drew Brees said it, Diesel. He said it right. Your best ability is availability, right? I'll say it again. Your best ability is availability. Is that true? 100% it's true. Being available is a great ability. And to your point and Shane's point, Joe hadn't been available his whole career in the NFL. Does that hurt him? I think it does. Should it hurt him, though, is a different question. Should it hurt him? You say yes.
Yes.
I say not as much as you. I say it should a little bit, but maybe 25% of the impact on availability. Just because, like, I guess my opinion on the injury thing is, like, it's not his fault he's getting injured.
Yeah.
So I do think it has to be a part of the conversation, but I don't really blame him for it.
If you want to read between the lines and look at the way these players are ranked within their tiers, and if you want to read anything into that, it doesn't say that players are not listed in any particular order.
No. Yeah, that's right.
Tier 1 is clearly, in my mind, Patrick Mahomes 1. I'd probably even right now put Matthew Stafford 2, Josh Allen 3, but it's like a 2A, 2B, and Joe Burrow being the 4th best quarterback in tier 1.
If you ranked them.
If I had to rank them.
If I ranked them, I'd go Josh Allen 1, Mahomes 2,
Wow.
Matthew Stafford 3, Joe Burrow 4. If I ranked them. Now, a lot of that has to do with the last 2 years of what I've seen in the last 2 years. Josh Allen's been a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes has had a few problems with his team, and you talked about the team aspect of it a few minutes ago. Team success definitely matters. It definitely matters. But I just look at what have you done for me lately? We're a victim of that. That's what we do. We're a what have you done for me lately society. And Josh Allen, in my opinion, has been better than all 4 of those quarterbacks. Matthew Stafford's good. He's really good. We all know that. But I don't know. Here's where I have trouble going to tier 2 now. When I take today Matthew Stafford over Lamar Jackson, and that's where I kind of like, should he be tier 1? Yeah, he should be tier 1, Diesel, but you know how I am about Lamar Jackson. The
fanboy.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably today, and maybe this is a hot take, I would probably today, if I were a GM, I'd take Lamar Jackson over Matthew Stafford. So, like, with that being said,
for a 1-year rental,
just like right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, right now.
As far as just the skills, as far as skills
let's go
concerned.
this year. Who do I want this year to be able to give me the best chance to win? And that's weird, though, isn't it? That I'm taking a tier 2 quarterback, according to these executives, over a tier 1 quarterback. That's no disrespect to Matthew Stafford, but it's just a matter of I'm just enamored by what Lamar Jackson can do with the football. I mean, I am. Shane Barrett asked, and I knew this was going to be brought up. Shane asked on YouTube, how many Super Bowls has Josh Allen played in? Shane, that would be 0. But here's the thing. We've talked about this before, and you're more than welcome to call in here because I think you and I are going to disagree on this. Are Super Bowls the end-all, be-all? I don't think they are the end-all, be-all. I think they are a big part of someone's legacy. I think they're a really big part of somebody's legacy, Diesel. But I don't think Super Bowls should be the end-all, be-all and saying, well, Josh Allen's not better than Mahomes right now because he hadn't played in the Super Bowl. I'm just going off of what I've seen in the past 2 years.
Yeah, and I look at it like this. And again, we're all using our own individual little methodologies.
Yeah.
I look at it as how good are they right now? And yeah, Mahomes is a little banged up. He's a little bit injured. I would fully expect him to use that to his advantage. You know how Mahomes has used it to his, like, he'll run out to the sideline and then he'll slow up and he'll check up right before he gets to the sideline so that he gets hit in the back and boom, there's another 15-yard penalty. I 1,000% believe that Mahomes will use his recovery from his injury to his advantage. He's smart enough to do that.
My thing is on the Super Bowl point, and I think this is Shane Barrett that's called into the show. Let me put him on hold so he can get in on the conversation here. I do think Super Bowls hold a lot of weight. But, like, for example, Lamar Jackson hadn't played in the Super Bowl. I'd still take today Lamar over Stafford. I would still take today Josh Allen over Patrick Mahomes today. That's based on the last 2 years of what I've seen when it comes to Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. The last 2 years, I'm taking Josh Allen. Shane Barrett, am I way off?
No, I don't think you're way off. And honestly, with the Super Bowl comment, I was trolling a little bit because I'm a football player, Josh Allen hater a little bit. And
you are?
With being in the fantasy football community, they obsess over him, and it drives me nuts because from a real football perspective, he hasn't eclipsed that echelon of the Super Bowl. Is he talented and probably the best talent at quarterback in the NFL right now? I can't argue with that. Mahomes is very close, if not number one for me, but they're very, very close when it comes
Sure.
to what they can do with the football. So honestly, with that, I was just trolling. I want to get to tier 2 and tier 3, where I have a couple problems with this list.
Okay. By the
why
way,
is
Shane,
Jordan-
before you do that, tier 2, Lamar, Herbert, Prescott, May, Goff, Love, Purdy, Williams, Daniels, Mayfield, Darnold, Lawrence, Hurts. Tier 3, Knicks, Rodgers, Stroud, Jones, Young, and Murray. For those listening.
Yeah, so here's I really think they could have done themselves justice by breaking this down into 5 tiers instead of just 4, because I think there's way too many quarterbacks in tier 2, and probably not enough in tier 3, and then there are some in tier 4 that you could probably bump up to tier 3 if you had a 5th tier. But why is Bo Nix in tier 3 when Jordan Love and Caleb Williams are in tier 2? And I think from a talent standpoint and what they have around them, Nix is either better or very close to those players.
Yeah, I don't push back on that. I mean, I would even
That's
say, wouldn't Jaden Daniels need to fall to 3? Well, couldn't you just swap Jaden Daniels for Bo Nix right now? Clean trade from 2 to 3?
I don't hate that, but I also think Daniels probably deserves to be in tier 2. Or like I was saying, if you split it into 5, he'd be in tier 3 with Nix and Love and Caleb Williams. Those guys that are young, and we've seen talent and spurts from them, but we haven't necessarily seen them make that push into the upper echelon, or they've been in the league long enough, like Darnold and Baker, they've figured out their flaws and they figured out how to work with their flaws within the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It does. It does. I think.
And then CJ Stroud is another one.
Where would you have him?
Stroud, I just think him being
He was bad
a
last year,
5-year
though, Shane. He was bad toward the end of the season last year.
Oh, and I love it. As a Jags fan, I love it. But I think with his rookie year and what we know he can do, it's kind of that thing.
Nope, can't do that. Can't do what you can do. Same thing with Jaden Daniels. Same thing, same conversation. Good rookie year.
Agreed. Yeah, totally agree.
Shane, great call. We got to run to a break because we have a guest.
Shane.
Thank you, man. I guess Diesel, we'll get back to this later in the show, but the fact of the matter is there are a lot of quarterbacks in tier 2 looking at the stream here. I mean, there are a lot. I don't know that Jaden Daniels should be in tier 2. I don't know that, to Shane's point, Bo Nix should be in tier 3. I don't have a huge issue with tier 4, just looking at it off the top of my head.
You got to start separating them out somewhere, though.
You
right?
do.
I mean,
That's why only 4 tiers is tough, too.
This means and I'm just trying to do a quick count in my head, 4, 8, 12. There's about 13 quarterbacks in tier 2. I mean, it feels like any one of those quarterbacks, you put them on your roster, if you're a tier 3 or tier 4 type team, that he instantly gives you 3 more wins. I mean, like if you're talking about the Carolina Panthers and you put this Sam Darnold back on the Carolina Panthers or this Baker Mayfield back on the Carolina Panthers, they are solidly a 9-win team, a plus 500 team.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think lists like this are great for arguments, debates. It's fun.
But everybody, like I said, everybody has their own methodology.
Yeah.
And so that's the fun part is nobody will ever agree on these.
No, it's fun. Good stuff.
Love it. When we come back, Cole, let's get back into the conversation about the Atlanta Braves. We're going to go straight to the source, to the guy that's talking to the Braves listeners right there in Braves country in the heart of downtown Atlanta. Home team Brandon Leak from 680 The Fan in Atlanta going to join the show next.
Upstate.
You know, Cole, our next guest that's about to join us here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson is one of the most energetic, upbeat people you could possibly talk to when it comes to sports in the city of Atlanta, which makes it such a bummer that we've got to bring home team Brandon Leak on the show on the same day that Jalen Walker is feared to have a torn ACL for the Atlanta Falcons and could be out for the season, and the Atlanta Braves have crapped the bed and have to go take the sheets down to the laundry after basically achieving nothing ahead of the trade deadline. Brandon Leak, welcome to the show. What is the tenor in the city of Atlanta today?
Guys, can we start over and do this tomorrow? My God, I mean, man, you want to talk about a double whammy. I don't even know where to start. The Jalen Walker news just came down a little while ago, and it's just, oh my goodness, perplexing that you want to talk about a guy who's upbeat, a guy who has a lot of energy, and a guy who was definitely at some point soon going to have a C for captain on his jersey. Just really too bad. You're just hoping for the best, but it looks like all indications it could be his knee, and it could not be good. So now you're talking about starting the season, not only not knowing who your quarterback is going to be, but starting the season without possibly James Pierce Jr. and Jalen Walker, your two edge rushers you drafted last year.
And you know, Brandon, we'll get to the Braves in a second, but we were talking about the Panthers a few minutes ago in the show. And by the way, this is Cole. Thanks for joining us as always. I'm talking about the Panthers and the NFC South. You know, the Panthers made the playoffs last year, hosted a playoff game with a losing record. Is there enough meat on the bone in the offseason for those teams in the NFC South for you to have a different opinion? Like if I told you Carolina's going to win 7 or 8 games and host another playoff game this year, has enough been done in the offseason for that to change your mind or for you to disagree with that?
No. I mean, The Falcons finished with the same record as the Panthers. They just lost out on a tiebreaker. And so, no, I think each one of the teams in the NFC South has questions. Baker Mayfield was banged up last year, so you would think because they had a situation where they won the division 3 years in a row prior to Carolina winning, but they've lost Mike Evans, and they're going through a little bit of transition. Vita Vea doesn't seem to be happy as well. Tyler Shuck going into his second year with the Saints. He got in the last part of the season and was okay towards the end, but he's still going into his sophomore season. And then you turn around and you look and see, where you are supposed to be with Carolina. Were they turning the corner, or did they just get hot at the end of the season and win games they were supposed to? They've given the Falcons fits. Plus, the Falcons, not only were they bad, they also lost games because their field goal kicker missed games in 2 games. They gave up incredible amount of yards on special teams, especially in that Jets game. They got blown out by the Dolphins, who ended up firing their coach and getting rid of their quarterback. So, I think that this could be another season where the NFC South can be very tricky, but it also could be a title that's up for grabs or up for tie once again, because there really is no clear-cut team that has shifted a gear against the others in a degree where I think you can say they're the better team.
Brandon, and again, we will talk Braves here in just a second, but Cole and I both have the Carolina Panthers going 5-1 in division. Are we both insane?
Nothing's insane when it comes to this division. The Falcons have not figured out Bryce Young the last couple of times that they played him. As a matter of fact, go look up. We did this last week. Go look up the career stats of Bryce Young versus the Falcons, and then look at his career stats versus other teams in the NFC South, and you'll see why they won their division last year. He turns into a completely different guy, from quarterback rating to touchdown passes to wins and losses. They swept the Falcons last year. And so, it's hard to say, when you're in this division, the teams do get up for division games. I will say that I think it's going to come down to the Falcons defense. Obviously the quarterback is going to be an issue. And now you don't have James Pierce Jr. We're thinking for a few games, because the league is probably going to suspend him for his off-field incidents this year. And then Jalen Walker could be banged up. So I think the defense of the Falcons is going to be a big thing for Kevin Stefanski, as well as figuring out the offense, because the defense is going to have to figure out a way to figure out quarterbacks that have figured out the Falcons the last few years.
Talking to home team Brandon Leak, 680 The Fan in Atlanta. Well, let's get to the meat and potatoes. The Atlanta Braves, we all know what they were, what they did not do at the deadline yesterday. Coming up on 6 p.m., we were all waiting anxiously, and I think Alex Anthopoulos was at the steakhouse, local steakhouse that you're a fan of, Brandon, just having himself a good old night with not a worry in the world. You look at this big picture after you step off of the balcony and you step back into your hotel room like I have done over the past 24 hours. Big picture, are Braves fans, including myself, overreacting? Should we calm down a little bit, Brandon?
No, I don't think fans have to do anything, particularly when you've seen Gossman switch teams, Casey Mize switch teams, when you've seen Tarik Skubal switch teams. No, I don't think Braves country needs to settle down at all. We had a chance to interview Alex Anthopoulos this morning on our show here in Atlanta, The Locker Room, and it was the longest interview I think we've ever done. It was 28 minutes.
Wow.
And we thought we asked him every single question that he needed to be asked about the trades or lack thereof. And what we could extrapolate from his conversation was that there were clearly close conversations, but there are some people who are deemed untouchable to Alex Anthopoulos when you're talking about making a trade, or at least this year at the trade deadline. I don't know who that player is. I don't know if it's Drake Baldwin. I don't know if it's Ronald Acuna Jr. I have no idea if it's Caminetti down at a lower level. I have no idea. But he went back to a couple of times that there are just some guys that were not up for discussion. And clearly there were a lot of teams that were willing to do deals, but it didn't seem like if you had somebody that they wanted, they were moving on. So no, you wanted to see if there could be a 1-2 punch, with our starting pitching unit going into the postseason. And it doesn't look like we have a 1-2 punch. It looks like he has settled in that we basically have one starter and the rest of the guys need to get us to 3 or 4. And the rest of the way in the bullpen will be taken care of the end of the games. And so it looks like we're headed for a bullpen postseason. And that is just the way it's going to be set up. And it is not very satisfying to a lot of fans in Braves country.
Brandon, judging by the comment section, fans are very upset. I read through, there's particularly one comment on that, one of the posts. It was like, it was a novel where he was very upset you guys didn't grill Alex Anthopoulos but then again, that's how you, of course, make sure that a guest never comes back on the show with you, when you grill them the way that fans want to. But let's put the blinders on here and not think about what the Padres did or what the Dodgers did or what the Red Sox did. They gave up Anthony Molina, Nacho Alvarez, Eli White, and Joey Bart for one starter and a handful of relievers. Obviously, pitching was a big need for the Braves. Just putting the blinders on and looking at the 4 pitchers that you got, is there value in those 4 guys?
You got an extra arm. I mean, neither one of these guys, I don't think, can be converted to a serious starter. It's not like a situation where you got a guy who's been in the pen for somebody else, but for you, he could do, what we need was just be somebody, right behind our number one guy. So no, I don't think we got what a lot of people needed. Now, what Alex wanted to say was, there were some things that went into the championship run. Nobody listening to you all show and nobody in our comment section who was critiquing our interview thought that Jock Peterson, thought that Jorge Soler were going to be difference makers in a World Series run. And one of those guys became World Series MVP. So that is what he decided to go with. I would have, just like I believe 99% of Braves country would have liked to see him get a bona fide frontline starter. But the truth is, in talking to him today, it wasn't like he did not approach it. It was he had conversations. Clearly, they wanted somebody that the Braves were not going to part with, and thus we ended up with the guys we did.
Brandon, can you go into a little bit more, a little deeper on what that conversation was like with AA this morning?
I thought we did a pretty good job. I'm laughing a little bit because our cohorts in the afternoon, they were railing and breaking down. They actually used it for about, 20 minutes of a segment that somebody else helps them out with to get things done on their show. But they were going over what we didn't ask them. We asked them, one of the things they said we didn't ask was about Suarez and not getting a start. Our first question of the day was, Tarik Skubal and Casey Mize were available. They went to other teams, and Braves country is disappointed. How do you respond to that? So that's how it led into the interview. I just think that, look, could we have, tried to bite his head off? I think that would have yielded shorter answers. I think he was just, I'm not going to call him evasive. I think he was just in a position where he knows there is no answer other than we needed to get a guy and we didn't get him, and he can't give that answer. And so when we asked about specifics of, well, who is untouchable, which was what my teammate John Michaels asked him, who are the guys that are untouchable? He said, as a GM, there are things he can't go into. We asked him about Jacob deGrom, who reportedly was going to be dealt to the Braves, but the report was he didn't want to come to Atlanta and exercise his no trade clause. We asked him about that, and he said he cannot comment on other teams' players. So, look, we asked the general manager of the Atlanta Braves all the questions we thought we could get an answer to about why we don't have somebody else helping out our number one pitcher, and we didn't get an answer. And so ultimately it's up to him to live in that, because if the Braves don't win or if they run into the Dodgers and they don't have enough, ultimately that's going to be on Alex Anthopoulos. And no matter what he says, he's going to be responsible.
Brandon, what was said from him, from AA on Skubal?
Well, it goes back to that conversation. They were in the mix, and he actually called him out by name. He was in the mix. They wanted to talk to him. I just don't – there are a couple of things. One, and you just pointed it out. When you look at what you dealt and what you got back, what does that say about the value of the guys? I mean, you said goodbye to Eli White. You said goodbye to Joey Bart. You said goodbye to Nacho Alvarez, who everybody was gushing over a few years ago. And what did it yield you? Brent Suter and some relief pitchers. So it's just, I don't know what needs to be said. What he said was he was trying to make moves, and ultimately he did things that he thought were good fits for the team. And he tried to sweeten it by saying sometimes the best fits for the team aren't the most interesting or shiny things for the team. And so we'll just have to see if that plays out.
Have you considered whether you're going to send like an edible arrangement or maybe those roses made out of dollar bills if this actually works out? Well, what might you send to Alex Anthopoulos to say, we as Braves country are sorry for ripping him if things work out?
Well, at our show in the locker room, we hold every man, woman, child, dog, cat accountable. And if you're going on social media railing them today, if you're going on the comment section here in Atlanta railing us today, you're going to have to go back on those sections and say, I'm sorry. You're the general manager. You've already won one World Series and have had a winning situation this entire decade. I apologize. You were right and I was wrong.
Brandon, when you look at that, I think that feels like a pipe dream for a lot of Braves fans in terms of what you just said to Diesel's question there. When you look at reality, though, like if you were to put your future, you look into your crystal ball and put your thinking cap on here. When you look at the postseason, if the Braves do win the division, 7.5, 8-game lead, whatever it is right now after the Phillies won last night, when you look at this rotation outside of Chris Sale, and my gosh, that's hoping that he stays healthy too, right? Another big part of it. Right. What do you envision as best case scenario for this rotation for them to be able to accomplish what we just talked about, what Diesel just asked you about, that what I consider a pipe dream? What does that rotation have to look like in order for the Braves to really pull a massive upset this postseason?
Well, you're going to have to get more from Bryce Elder. You're expecting Bryce Elder to give you 5 or 6 in the postseason. You're expecting Grant Holmes, who every time he goes around the lineup the second time, he's a different guy. Or the third time, he's a different guy. You're going to have Grant Holmes. You're going to have Bryce Elder step it up. And I don't know if that's a bet a lot of people are willing to fork over cash on. So I think what we're doing is where AA, I think, is laid out. We're headed for a bullpen postseason. The question is the bullpen going to be fresh? We still have 2 months of baseball to go. So this is not over yet just because the trade deadline is gone. You can't wear out the bullpen now because Grant Holmes and Bryce Elder can't eat up innings, wear these guys out, and then they're not rested when the postseason comes, apparently, for this philosophical approach to work.
You know, Brandon, and we're talking to home team Brandon Leak, 680, the fan in Atlanta. We've talked a lot about Austin Riley and his struggles this year. We know what he could be if he was healthy and his swing got a little more compact the way that Chipper Jones wants it to be. In your mind, was he ever on the trading block? Were there teams that were even potentially interested in a guy like him? He seems like to be one of the biggest names, even though he hadn't been playing well for the Braves.
I don't think so. I think he's in a spot where it's really tough. You got to be able to show somebody you can help them, and you can't really help your team right now. Things just have not been working out. And so, no, I don't get any sense that was the issue. I don't know right now who would want him right now. And you have to wonder now, if the Braves are going to want him, if things go south or, power outages go at the plate once again, are you going to have to sit him? He did sit in one game last week, and Walt Weiss did have an extra guy to put over there. So the question now is, if this continues, will there be some games where he does not, depending on who's pitching, he does not show up and he has to grab some pine? So, no, I do not think he was a guy that was up for grabs or discussion.
Brandon, always, always, always appreciate your time. Great stuff, great insight. We'll do it again real soon.
Anytime, guys. Home
team Brandon Leak, 680 The Fan. I would have been absolutely livid, Diesel, if I were a Braves fan this morning listening to The Locker Room, which is a great show, by the way, one of the best in the country, with Brandon Leak and his cast of characters on that show. I would have been upset if I heard 28 minutes of Alex Anthopoulos and him just – and I get that you can't say everything and you can't spill the beans, but if I didn't hear answers, it would have drove me crazy. I used to be like that. I've gotten better. I used to be like that with the Cowboys when Jerry Jones came on The Fan, 180 The Fan in Dallas. Not 180, 105.3 The Fan in Dallas. I would live on every word. It would piss me off. I would be upset about it. Braves fans hearing that this morning, there's no way. And you said you saw some of the comments on Twitter.
They were brutal.
They should have been.
They were brutal.
We all we want is some answers.
But isn't it interesting, though, that Braves fans have been on this roller coaster of not that long ago? And I don't think I'm misquoting you. Not that long ago, you and other Braves fans were saying, well, we trust Alex Anthopoulos. We trust what he's put together. I mean, it is a roller coaster, but that trust doesn't last very long. That trust only lasts until the next decision that people don't like.
Sure, and the trust only lasts until you break the trust. Like, well, I don't know if I ever said that. If I did, I'll tell you this. I give him credit for putting together a good roster. I give him credit for a lot of things. I give him credit for putting himself in this position to go be a buyer. He didn't become a buyer, so that's where it's like, hey, if you're putting yourself in this position, why aren't you executing when it really matters the most? Matt Olson on this team, this roster, I mean, of course, I give him a tremendous, and I mean tremendous amount of credit for building this roster. But that's why I have as much frustration with him as I do, because, hey, you did a great job. You hit on some guys, and you got us to a point where we felt like, hey, we're a pitcher or two away from making a World Series run, and you didn't do anything to help us improve that. That's why it's frustrating.
I get it. This offensively, this team has been in a good shape for a while now, and those offensive pieces are now getting older, Cole. I mean, Acuna is constantly hurt. Olson's getting a little bit older. He's not old yet. I'm just saying they're all getting a little bit older, and it feels like maybe the window could be a year, 2 years, 3 years from now slipping away.
Yeah, hopefully not, but it is what it is. I'm not crying, but thanks for bringing that up. Diesel, we've got to get to the top headlines. Our Daily Wires, that is next.
Fan Upstate.
A lot to get to. Our Daily Wires. It's the buzz and the headlines happening in the sports world. Diesel, two-time Pro Bowler Bijan Robinson and the Atlanta Falcons reached an agreement on a 3-year extension worth up to $75 million. That will now make him the highest-paid running back in NFL history. Oh my word!
Him?
Bijan, highest ever. We're going to actually take that to a full segment coming up at 5:20. This is intriguing. How the running back market fluctuates, Diesel, year to year. Wow, is all I can say to that. We'll talk about it coming up at 5:20. The Yankees plan on calling up top prospect George Lombard Jr., not Lombardi, Lombard. The Yankees have had a weird, interesting season where things haven't gone right. So now they're calling up a prospect on Tuesday. Anthony Volpe going to Triple-A. And just like I said, a weird season for the New York Yankees. Miami football coach Mario Cristobal agreed to a long-term and contract extension with the school. Diesel sources told ESPN on Monday night, confirming a report. Cristobal is entering the 5th year of a 10-year deal that ran through 2031, paid him $8 million annually. Miami has not announced a new deal for Cristobal, who took his alma mater to the national title game a season ago.
I hope it's a big raise. Cost of living's high in Miami.
I think it'd be pretty big. I think it'll be pretty big. I do. Grant Holmes on the mound tonight for the Atlanta Braves. Braves hosting the Marlins, 7:15. The Braves are 36-20 at home this season, so a day off yesterday. Hopefully the Braves don't play like the fans have been over them. What am I saying? Hopefully the Braves don't let the emotion of the fans translate into their game tonight.
Yeah, might as well shut it down. Just shut it down. Every game. You got no chance.
Just go ahead and shut it down now. That'd be the better thing to do while you're ahead. That's good there. Let's see. Next on our Daily Wires, Chicago Bears safety Kobe Bryant will be sidelined for 8 to 10 weeks after injuring his left knee during Monday's practice. That's terrible news. We talked about it earlier in the show that the Falcons, Diesel, losing one of their top players this season to an ACL just today, right?
Yeah, Walker.
That is Jalen Walker. That is bad stuff there. You know what? I hate injuries any time of the year, but injuries in the camps.
Yeah, didn't even get into preseason games. Didn't even get to help him get an actual win.
That's brutal, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's brutal. Let's see here. How about this one? This one's interesting. I was going to ask Brandon Leak about this, but we ran out of time. 5-time All-Pro wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins has joined Georgia Tech as an assistant wide receivers coach. Brent Key announced Friday. Maybe we touched on this already, Diesel. If we did, I apologize. Yesterday, Hopkins has also tested the waters for an NFL coaching role. He has yet to retire, though, from the NFL. How about that?
Strange.
Former Clemson Tiger and Atlanta. Coaching
How dare
Georgia
he
Tech.
go to an in-conference team?
I know. Panther Talk on the Fan Upstate debuts next Monday night, right here on the Fan Upstate, August 10th, 7 p.m. The Panther Talk, Anish Shroff and crew will have you every Monday at 7 following our show right here on the Fan Upstate. So that's exciting. If you're a Panthers fan, you turn it on and leave it on. Good content there, good programming coming up during football season. And a reminder, Panther football games on our sister station, Diesel, The Planet. If you are what do y'all call it, P1?
P1s.
If you're a P1 on The Planet, I don't know how the P1s are. Are P1s also PANTHERS ones? Like, are they P1s and Panther ones?
It can be.
Should be.
It's a Venn diagram. There is some overlap.
Should be. Hopefully so. That's exciting as well. Coming up very soon. App State Athletic Director Doug Gillen has been appointed to the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. Ooh. Whoa. He's been at App State for 11 years. So now App State may be getting some favor of the CFB.
We'll take all the help we can get. I'm predicting another rough year.
Dylan Stewart of South Carolina and Sammy Brown were both added to the Bronco Nagurski Trophy watch list for the best defensive player in college football. Wanted to make sure I got that right there. And then last one, in case you missed it last week, the Carolina Panthers signed tight end Shaman Matier. I don't know how you pronounce that one either, who originally signed with Pittsburgh as an undrafted free agent. And those are your Daily Wires.
When we come back, Cole, it is time to touch on the hottest new poll and see what we agree with, see what we don't agree with. The American Football Coaches Association of America has listed off their top 25 teams going into the season. And we're actually walking into a year, Cole, where something is very stable. It has not been stable for a long, long time. We'll talk a little college football next.
From First Net.
Cole, have you thought about the fact that this upcoming off season is going to be, and maybe the next one after that, it's going to be pretty boring when it comes to major teams coaching changes? The teams that I would consider the prestige 10, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Alabama, Michigan, Texas, Penn State, LSU, Georgia, Oklahoma, Miami, all those programs are locked in with their head coaches or just locked in a brand new head coach.
Where's Clemson on that list?
Well, I mean, we're slipping a little bit here and there. Slipping.
Penn State? I'm putting on my fanboy hat here and say that's ridiculous.
It is whether you believe it to be or not. I still believe Penn State is a prestige program. You could certainly swap one here, one there, Cole, but we're not going to see really any changes at any of those big schools when it comes to coaches. If we had to start projecting out and thinking of possible coaching changes at other big-time programs, let's see, maybe I'm thinking Southern Cal and Tennessee are the only ones that are relatively close, and I don't think either one of those are going to happen this offseason. Might be 2 years down the road from now, but think about that. I mean, as much change as we've had at the tippy top of the sport in the last couple of years, there's not going to be much change unless something insane happens.
I was going to say, you're saying this now, and you saying this is going to absolutely
Kirby Smart is going to get the axe.
Yeah, I mean, something's going to happen. I mean, at the top, maybe you're right. At the top, when you start coming down that list, though, and start getting to the middle of the pack, Tennessee wasn't the name that you threw out there when it comes to top 10 jobs, right? But my gosh,
it's not far from it.
No, it's not. And if that were to come open, if disaster hit Knoxville, and that is, let's say, for example, a scenario, we live in a world where that's the biggest job that comes open.
Yeah.
That is a massive job. If that's the biggest one, that's that is astronomical. I mean, I know it's not an Ohio State, to your point, but still.
It's an SEC job.
It's an SEC job with great tradition and great history and a passionate fan base.
Is there no other major jobs are going to be coming open in the SEC anytime soon, I wouldn't think.
Not in Columbia?
Well, I said major jobs.
Oh, wow. You're not, now you are on.
What?
Major jobs and
major
Beamer?
jobs. It's not a major job.
Ooh.
I
hope he's not listening.
It's a good job. It's just not a major job. Right? I mean, whoever takes that role is going to be struggling for a couple of years to bring this program back.
Gamecock fans are not happy with you after that.
Florida just hired a new coach. LSU just hired a new coach. There's not a lot of change at the tippy top of the conference. And I would argue probably the same for the Big Ten. I mean, Ryan Day's not going anywhere. Dan Lanning's not going anywhere. I'm not calling Indiana a major job at the moment, but Cignetti's not going anywhere. Penn State just hired Matt Campbell. I mean, we are in an unprecedented state of stability.
One more. Mint that one more in there at you.
Who did I miss? Michigan?
Mike Norvell?
Well.
Is that on your tier or no?
I would have Florida State off the top of my head, definitely below Tennessee, obviously, with the level of below Southern Cal. Is it a major job? Is Florida State still a major job?
I think it is.
Yeah.
It's at the bottom of the major category. What history's told me over the past 3 decades, 4 decades, and living in the past a little bit. But I don't know. That's a good question, Tolo. Is 844-326-3663. Is Florida State I think it is. I think there's just way too much. But you are in Florida.
Yeah.
You are in the hotbed of high school football recruits. Like the hotbed.
And you got national titles in your program's history.
I mean, come on.
So all of that is to say, Cole, that those putting together or casting their ballots for the AFCA coaches poll are not going anywhere anytime soon. Maybe we'll have a level of consistency and believability with these coaches polls. I mean, because obviously Ryan Day is casting his ballot. It's not some assistant that he just passes it off and says, here, you do it. But Ohio State and Ryan Day, number 1 in the coaches poll.
Yeah.
We're going to get into the whole thing here.
Look, of course, like that should be. This is the coaches poll, even though the coaches poll in 8 weeks will be irrelevant. It's the only poll we have right now.
Yep.
Or the poll, like I know AP, whatever. I think Ohio State's unanimous.
They're not unanimous.
They should be. Shouldn't they?
So Ohio State got the most number of number one votes in this poll at 38 38 first place votes. Here's what's interesting about this. The second most number of first place votes goes to the team voted sixth in the preseason poll.
That's weird.
Indiana, listed as sixth in the AFCA coaches poll. They got 14 first place votes. That's the second most behind Ohio State. So you got a 5-school break between first and second place for a number of first place votes.
Can you tell me how many people did not vote Ohio State as one? Is that too much math to ask?
No, I'll do it. Just give me a second. Talk for a second.
I just think that's like, if we can go into the pockets and the minds of those people, what am I missing here? I mean, if we're totaling up, how many?
31. 31 people did not vote them number one.
That's just embarrassing. 31 coaches out there,
right?
Don't think Ohio's
unless there's a caveat that says you can't vote for your own
That's
school.
insane.
I mean, do we think Dan Lanning is voting Oregon number one? Maybe. Do we think Kirby Smart is voting Georgia the number one team in the country? Maybe. On down the line.
I just can't believe 31 coaches think, oh, yeah, this team's without a doubt going into this. Like, let's go back to Indiana for a second. Where Indiana shouldn't have many votes for number one. What if it's about what you did last year? Okay, but come on, there's nobody that really thinks Indiana. And then here we are.
Indiana's going to be really. I think they're going to be really good.
I know, and here we are giving more ammunition, more fuel to the fire for maybe the best coach in college football right now. But come on, Ohio State's roster is loaded. They're loaded.
By the way, Indiana just got another big-time piece back. Star defensive lineman Stephen Daly will return to Indiana for his 5th year. He had 11.5 sacks and 3 forced fumbles last year. So a really good player for Indiana. He is coming back. I didn't look to see if he was a redshirt guy. I didn't look to see if maybe this is somehow tied to that Colorado, that judge in Colorado ruling that we talked about yesterday. I don't know exactly how he's getting his 5th year, but he is coming back for a 5th year.
That's insane to me.
Yeah.
It's insane to me that 31 coaches out there said, no, there's somebody else better. And again, that's good. Like, you want parity, but my gosh.
So here's the top 10. We'll go from 10 to 1, okay? Coaches poll. Ole Miss number 10. Oklahoma number 9. Texas A&M number 8. Miami 7. Indiana 6. Notre Dame 5. Texas 4. Georgia 3. Oregon 2. Ohio State 1.
They're talking about it on ESPN right now, too. I don't have an issue with the top 5. Oregon, Dante Moore, I'm just impressed with him. I think Dante Moore's they've got a chance this year, Diesel, and we talked about Oregon a couple of weeks ago. They got a chance to really be in the hunt when it comes down to those Final Four. No, I don't have an issue with the 5. What were the 5 again? Top 5, you had Oregon 2, Ohio State 1. Who are the other 3?
Ohio State 1, Oregon 2, Georgia 3, Texas 4, Notre Dame 5.
I do love the debate, though. Georgia and Oregon. Should Georgia have been 2? Should Oregon should they have been 3? Maybe Gunnar Stockton, is the difference quarterback there? Is the difference people just believe Dante Moore's a little bit better than Gunnar Stockton? I think that could be a real possibility. That's interesting. This is an interesting poll. While we continue to break that down, let's go to the phone lines. Tom in Somerville wants to weigh in on the coaches poll. Tom, I'm sure you have a thought or 6.
When are we going to stop doing this garbage? I'm a Gamecock, and I understand talking about the SEC and all that crap. But at the end of the day, this is one of the biggest issues in college football today. Not the NIL, not the transfer portal, none of that. It's stuff like this that is ruining college football.
What is it, Tom? What?
What can you point at, Tom, specifically to say that the coaches poll has screwed up in college football?
Well, the problem here is not every single coach is voting themselves. A lot of times they give their vote to a family member or friend or whoever to do the vote for them. That's part of the problem.
How do you know that?
And I just know it. Trust me.
Oh, you're
okay?
guessing. You're guessing.
I'm not guessing. I'm telling you the truth. I don't lie. The other problem is, everybody wants to talk about, inclusivity in college sports, okay, with the ACC, the Big 12. Well, the problem here is, and it's so annoying watching ESPN, and I am a Gamecock, but I get sick and tired of them talking about how good the SEC is all the time when the SEC had won a title in over 3 years. And it's polls like this that fuel those conversations about how strong resumes are. Did y'all know last year, now granted with the AP poll, that Tennessee, of all people, rose. They went from 24 to 15 after beating ETSU and Syracuse. And it all comes back to these stupid polls. Nobody knows anything with roster turnover these days.
Yeah.
So what
we agree with you on that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Is they are eliminating so many people based off of these preseason polls. Now, if you go, when we get to November, December, and we're talking about the playoffs and this, that, and the other, I guarantee you that the quote-unquote 5 or 6 teams that are outside the bubble looking in will have started in these preseason polls below number 20. It happens every year, and when you're basing this off of a popularity contest, which is that's what these polls are, you are ruining it for everybody.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. I mean, you need to tell me Iowa, who probably won't even average 22 points a game, is the 22nd best team in the country. It's all bull crap. You got to at least be able to average 22 points a game if you are going to be the 22nd best team in the country in a preseason.
But Iowa's defense is always insanely good, Tom.
I don't care about it. Defense. It don't matter how good your defense is. If your offense sucks every year, and every year you go 8-4 at best, what are we doing?
Look, Tom.
What's going to change about Iowa this year that we haven't seen the last 20 years?
I'm 1,000% with you. I despise preseason polls because while they technically don't matter, technically the first poll that matters doesn't come until the second half of the season. All of the coaches polls and the AP polls and this poll and that poll, everybody's got a poll. They do start to influence those that make the decision. So instead of waiting until week number 4, when you have at least a little bit of data on these teams before putting out your first poll, people have this thought in the back of their heads that, oh, Texas is really good or Miami is really good. And they may be this year. I'm thinking of years past when everybody would say, oh, Texas is back, Miami's back, so let's put them inside the top 10. And then they fall apart before conference play starts.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem when you have a human committee is you have outside influences on said committee.
Yeah.
And so when you start having these bogus polls, a month before the season starts, you are setting the precedent. You're setting the influence.
Yeah.
And so when you have 17 teams from 2 conferences in a poll, what does that tell you in August? Come October, all we're going to hear is, well, this conference had 8 teams in the preseason poll. They are going to be good for the whole year. We don't know.
But Tom, you're missing one thing. You know what it is that you're missing?
What?
If there were no polls, you wouldn't be calling into the show right now. We wouldn't be talking about it. No,
Hey.
we wouldn't be talking about it. How many radio shows across the country are using this preseason coaches poll as 1 or 2 or 3 segments for the next 2 weeks? A lot of them. It's content, and that's what this sport has become. This sport has become more about what happens off the field. And you can disagree with me here all you want, but we spend more time talking about college football off the field than we do on the field with NIL, with lawsuits, with this, with that, with this conference. We spend more time talking about off the field issues than we do with college football on the field, and I think that's the biggest problem with the sport.
Did y'all see what Josh Pate said the other day?
Yes. I saw it last night.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make the issue go away, though, Tom.
Well, the issue's never going to go away.
Well, here's the thing, Tom. Would you rather that the entirety of the punditry that talks about it, radio shows that talk about it, not even mention college football until the first games are played? I mean, because that's essentially what you're asking for, is that we only focus on Major League Baseball, and the Braves suck, so nobody wants to hear about that right now. And we don't even talk about college
the Braves
football.
Don't suck.
Well,
no, I'm all for talking football 365 days of the year. I love it. I'll talk about, offensive lineman splits and two deeps and three. I'm just saying that it is bad for the sport.
Yeah, I agree with you.
17 teams in a preseason poll because it sets the tone for the rest of the fall.
Well, Tom, I would argue that everybody leading up to the season until the first games are played are just guessing. You're just guessing. Like you think a team might be good, and that's fine because of the collection of players that they have, but you have no idea how they're going to play together. You have no idea what the new coordinator that just came in is going to be able to do with them. It's all just supposition. It's all guessing until you get games that are played.
And half the teams haven't even started fall camp yet.
Yeah.
So we don't know. I guarantee you, we could have the Tolos on this show call and make a top 25 poll, and it will be more accurate than that bogus article that got posted today by USA Today. I guarantee it.
Guarantee it. Tom, thanks for the call as always.
Go Gamecock.
Thanks,
I think
Tom.
what Tom is saying, and again, not putting words in Tom's mouth, I think what Tom is saying is this. The poll, the preseason poll that's out now from the coaches, is a very bad influence on the rest of the season because of the influence that it does carry, like it or not, whether you think it does or not. I don't think Tom's saying, let's not talk football. I think he's just saying it sucks that later on in the season, we're going to use this preseason coaches poll as a reference, Diesel. And now, to his point, this team was 24th and now they're 17. It's bad because he hit the nail on the head. We have humans on the committee, and the humans on the committee, you can't not look at the top. Right. It's just impossible. So do away with the polls altogether that's the only. Now,
they're not looking
radio.
at blind resumes.
No, that's what I'm saying. You terrible radio, television, terrible conversation. If you do away with the polls, I get it, but doing away with it, I think would help come time for the college football playoff selection.
Yeah.
The first one.
I always hate it for like the Boise States of the world, the mid-majors that are usually pretty good, because they always have to come from outside the top 25, because these preseason polls, they always want to boost and they always want to gas up the power programs, and they want to put those power programs in the top 25 because it helps them get attention in markets all over the country. Whereas a Boise State, who is typically a really good program, not always elite, but they're typically pretty good, they always have to win 3 or 4 games before anyone pays attention to them at all.
Yeah.
And then it's, now they're coming, they're rising their way up the polls, and they can never seem to get past number 15.
Well, I think the worst thing, and going back to my point that I said to Tom a minute ago, Diesel, I think the worst thing that's happened to college football is all of this new news that comes out every week about lawsuits and conferences. It makes it easy on people like us and TV personalities to just talk about that instead of trying to figure out what Boise State's going to be in 2026. Instead of looking at the X's and O's and saying, hey, I really like this left guard for Boise State. What's interesting is Boise State's 7-0 in the past 3 games or past 7 years against this. What my point is, it takes all of this other clutter, takes our focus away from the game. I love college football. I grew up loving college football because of the game. What happened in between the lines from the time the clock started to the time the clock stopped. And the biggest thing I hate about the sport is all of this other clutter that comes along with it that everybody talks about. And the fact of the matter is, that's not why we love the sport. We love the sport because of the game, and it's a shame that we've gotten far from that, because all the other stuff, it's news. It's top of news. It's on ESPN. It's breaking news.
I think the truth is, Cole, not very many of us. There are obviously some organizations that have spreadsheets with tremendous amounts of data that go into it. We're just trying to use our little pea brains and wrap our minds around what do we think a team could be this year. Obviously, we have to think, okay, now this left guard from Tennessee has transferred to Georgia Tech, and we think he's a 1 point upgrade on the position from the guy they had last year, and this and the coach changes. I mean, there's
a lot more work required.
So much information and so much work required that, sure, you can plug a lot of this information into spreadsheets and have a sense of what quality level of a team you might have, but most people don't have that. The Josh Pates of the world, I know he talks about like the numbers that they crunch, whether he has that or not, I don't know. The Kelly Fords of the world, we know ESPN has their data and analytics side of things of what they do, but most people don't have that. So it's hard for most people to wrap their minds around what a team could actually be when you put all the pieces together.
Let's go to the phone lines again. Cocky for a reason next up. What do you have to say, Cocky?
It's talking season, so you got to have something to talk about.
That's right.
The polls the last few years have been skewed. I think a lot of that has got to do with the transfer portal. Let's talk about my boys. Let's talk. The Gamecocks. Their main problem, they sucked last year, and the main problem was because their line. But they went off and they got a brand new line. Our offensive line is brand new.
Most of
if they gel, they gel. If they're good, they're good. They got to be better than last year because they sucked last year. But you can't equate what last year was with this year because they're brand new teams.
Right.
Brand new teams.
And I think that's the challenge that we're talking about. Like it is tough. I mean, you do have to think, okay, that's a great example. You brought up with Carolina's offensive line. How can Randy Clements is what the data we have off of last year's O-line for Carolina, Diesel, Cocky, as bad as it was, what we've heard, what we've seen last year, what is the data we now have? We know that Randy Clements is the new OL coach. We know, to your point, they've brought guys in. We know they still have guys from last year's roster. We also know they had true freshmen starting on the offensive line last year for Carolina as well. So I to your point, I do think, yes, it's challenging to take those data points and compile what you think it will be. Now, to your point, I agree with you. They were bad last year. I don't think they can be much worse.
Nah, they can't be any worse. It's only going to be up from there. But like I say, how can someone that's in the MEAC or wherever voting for a preseason take that into account? Well, if a team, don't just take Carolina for it, take any team. If they don't know the ins and outs of every team that has transfer, they don't know that XYZ got a new stud running back that's gonna take over their conference. They don't, some do, some don't. But your conference, but you don't know 4 conferences down the way.
No doubt, and I think that's tough. Cocky, thanks for the call. Good stuff. 844 fan phone. And to his point there, and to our point that we've talked about now for 24 minutes, I think the only answer is just not to have the polls, because there's no fix, there's no solution unless we were back in the BCS era, Diesel. If we were in the BCS era, okay, the coaches' polls are fun, that we talk about them, but guess what? Those coaches' polls wouldn't have any sway, and they wouldn't dictate, they wouldn't have any impact on the BCS at the end of the year. But now we have the human element, and that's the most important part of this. The human element is now a part of this conversation. And to Tom's point and to Cocky's point, you have coaches across the country who know nothing about South Carolina or Clemson that are voting on where they should be in the top 25. That's what's tough.
It is. And, you look at the way that college football season ended last year, and everybody has their own metric that they like. I like to favor the S&P plus. South Carolina finished last year as the 78th best team in the country. I got every reason to believe South Carolina is going to be better than that this year, but how much better? It's hard to know, right? I mean, we don't know if South Carolina would jump to, if right now before the season even starts, are they the 50th best team in the country? Are they the 40th best team in the country? Because obviously that affects how many wins and how they need to look in those wins if they wanted to make their way up into the top 25. I mean, think about how many times you've seen teams look really good and finally break into the top 25 week number 5 when they're at 4-0. Well, it took them 4 wins to hit the top 25.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe a team like, and I'm just making these up off the top of my head, right? Maybe a team like Ole Miss has looked good in their 4 games, not great, yet they're now the 7th best team in the country. So you've got 2 teams with the same record who are far apart in what the metrics tell you.
You know whose fault this really is? When you talk about, hey, who's to blame?
Lonzo?
No, not this time. It's a season ago. It's LSU's fault, it's Clemson's fault, and it's Penn State's fault that we're having this conversation. Because going into the season, Clemson, LSU, and Penn State were maybe the top 3 or 4 playoff teams, right? They were going to be in the college football playoff. Clemson was picked by everybody to win the national championship last year. LSU with Nussmeier, they were going to be, light in the hair. I mean, they were going to be unbelievable. And then Penn State, Drew Aller, like they were going to be legit. And those 3 teams, it's their fault because they all laid an egg. So now we have no idea. Even if we do know the players that transferred into the other programs and what they did at the previous destination, we just don't know what that equals. We know that this plus this equals something. We just don't know what it equals. And the fact that we don't know the answer to the formula or the answer to the equation, that's why it's harder to predict what happens, which I do think is fun. I think it's fun that it is harder to predict nowadays.
Prime example of that is LSU was awful last year, 7-6. Basically everything on this team is new. And the AFCA coaches poll has LSU as the 13th best team in America. You can't know that. You cannot know that. You can believe that they have talent on their roster.
Yeah.
And we know that to be true, but we're also basing that off of a flawed star system, right? They are in theory, the 13th best. Like how can you place LSU as the 13th best team in America when you have no clue how Lane Kiffin will be able to get this team to gel?
They use the stars and how was this player rated? I mean, that's what they're using, and it's all flawed. I mean, the college football playoff selection is flawed. There's no perfect, the BCS people had a problem with it. When Notre Dame got obliterated by Alabama in 2012, people had a problem with that. So it's just we have never seen a perfect system in college football. The NFL seems not pretty perfect, but it seems pretty good. The playoff system works in the NFL.
Put it this way. Michigan, who went 9-4, who got the coach off of a team that went 11-2 last year with an elite level quarterback, is ranked below LSU. That's basically starting from scratch. One more time. Michigan went 9-4 last year. They fired their coach.
Yeah.
They brought in Whittingham from Utah, who won 11 games at Utah last year, by the way. So we got a great coach coming onto a pretty good roster. They've got them ranked below LSU, 3 spots below LSU in this ranking.
I'm with you. And again, it's just to Tom's point. We just don't have enough data to
when you don't have data, you input bias, and that's what these coaches polls do.
And that's why, like I said, it's never going to happen. But the only way to remove the bias from the end result is to not have these polls to begin with. That's just the only way.
Do we believe? And the answer is maybe how could it not? Do we believe that the College Football Playoff Committee puts any weight on the ranking numbers when these teams play each other, up to the point where they start ranking them? Does the CFP look at a week 1 versus 5 matchup and
how
say,
do they
"Oh
not,
my God,
how do they not?
How do they not?"
Yeah, that's my thing. I'm not saying I'm not saying they intentionally look for it. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, how do you not notice it? I mean, when she walks by, you're not looking for it, but how do you not notice it? You know what I mean? I mean, sometimes it's just there, and you were already looking in that direction, aren't you, Diesel? You're not looking for it, but it's there. That's my point.
It's how we hype up week 1 games. We say, oh my God, Texas, Ohio State. I don't know if that's week 1 this year or not.
No,
we say, oh my God, that's a 1 versus 4 matchup, and that's going to be huge.
It's technically the second. It is week 2. It is week 2. They're not playing the first game. Ohio State's playing a cupcake or something first, and then Texas. Bijan Robinson, today, highest paid NFL running back in the history of the NFL. How has time shown us that this running back position in the NFL is something that we just can't figure out? It's always changing, and now it's changed again.
Talking sports the way you do at the bar. Bryson and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
How about that? Only 23 days until Furman football kicks off at Paladin Stadium. You just heard the promo there from Dan Scott. 23 days till college football's back. That is insane to me. I don't care if it's Furman, App State, or Kentucky Community College. I'm ready. I'm watching Thursday night. I'm ready.
We should have a Tolo field trip out to Paladin Stadium.
Not a bad idea.
What do you think?
Not a bad idea. I'm game. They even have a new end zone area now. Where you can. I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome. I don't hate that. It's going to be a blowout. I think. No offense to Anderson. I think Furman will take care of business pretty well.
It better be a blowout. If it's not, Furman's got big problems for the
Furman
season.
played a D2 school not long ago to open the season in North Greenville, and it was not close. So again, it's D2. I no disrespect to him. I just think it will be. That's a good idea, though. I'm down. You've got two. We've got two that are interested in that. That'd be a lot of fun. I don't think. Looking at my schedule right now, I mean I think that'd be a great idea. 27th, Tolos. If you are in like Flynn, I think I don't know what we could work out ticket wise, but maybe if we can get a good early head count, maybe we can make that happen. I like that.
Yeah, Tolos
hanging out in the end zone.
Are you in?
A Tolo hang. The 27th, and that would be at Furman. Anderson at Furman to open up the college football season. Is that the week after those 5 games? Oh, you know what that is, don't you?
Thursday the 27th. What is that?
That is the week, the second half of week 1. Like when you look at the scores, you have all the first 8 games that we talked about yesterday. No, It's not. I'm wrong on that. I am completely wrong on that. That Thursday night game or that Thursday night of that Thursday night stretch of games, is September the 3rd. So Furman's really getting this thing going before college football happens on August 29th.
Yes.
So I'm mistaken.
It's 2 days prior to the big kickoff of college football.
So does Furman have the first football game in college football?
I'm going to look this up here.
There's no FBS games.
I'm going to look at FCS games.
That's pretty cool. One of the first ones for sure.
So
the first game of FBS, Diesel, so we're clear. August 29th, 12 o'clock is TCU UNC.
Yes.
Furman plays 2 days before that.
There are a lot of FCS games on Thursday, August 27th.
Is that the first day of FCS games? So Furman plays on the first day of the year.
I'm looking here to see what might be the biggest FCS games that weekend. You'd have Gardner Webb, Austin Peay. Like, which ones would have some local interest here? Gardner Webb, Austin Peay. Charleston Southern at Lindenwood. Chattanooga at West Georgia.
West Georgia's good. They're in the Gulf. I mean, and
PC is hosting UVA Wise.
Okay, so one in the upstate here. Wait, that's the same night?
Same night.
So 2 FCS games, both in the upstate, one in Clinton or Ish, and one in Greenville. That's interesting.
Concord at Davidson. But no, those are the ones that are in state.
So Furman's playing college football on the first day of the first. I mean, they're one of the first ones.
Yeah.
What time does that kick off? Do you see it on there?
The Furman game?
Furman game, Anderson, 7 o'clock? 7:15?
Let's see here.
We'll have to get it out of here a little early that day. I mean, see if we can get our producer, Chad GPT, to hold it down for us.
Now, for whatever reason, that game is not listed on this Thursday slate of games. The Furman game.
I'm down with it, though. I think that's a great idea. Tolo hang that Thursday night.
And that's the way it should be.
7 o'clock.
I remember about 10 years ago or so, the FCS, there was always like one or two big time FCS matchups on the first day of college football. And the big schools let it happen. The Power 4 schools let it happen. And then eventually the creep started moving up to where, like, okay, now North Carolina has to schedule somebody. And it was always UNC. They always had to schedule somebody on that same day. And then 5 more FBS games got scheduled on the same day. It sort of just gobbled up that whole opening kickoff. It's usually that first Thursday.
We'll have to get I like that idea. I think we get a couple of Tolos involved, see if we can get a Tolo hang out there that night and get out of here a little early. Get out of here a little early on that Thursday. Sneak over to Paladin Stadium.
Yeah.
And 7 o'clock kickoff. I think that's a great idea.
We should get a party bus. Is anybody on a party bus?
I know somebody that does.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not going to say who it is, but I do know somebody. Yep, you know them too, I think. Yeah, That's not a bad idea. Well,
Who
it's
do I
short
know
trick.
that's got a party bus.
Now, you don't know that he has a party bus, but I think you know this person.
Okay.
He's done stuff on the station sponsor-wise before, so.
I have a guess of who it might be.
Yeah. So that's a good idea. We will get to, I'm going to put this Bijan Robinson segment on tomorrow's show because, there's a big misconception about NFL running backs in terms of like how they dictate the market. A few years ago, we were told that NFL running backs aren't even they're not even valued anymore. Their shelf life is too small. And we would see teams, organizations just platoon running back by committee.
Mm-hmm.
You still see that, but Bijan Robinson, what happened today, oh my gosh, highest paid ever. We'll talk about that tomorrow, coming up at 5 o'clock tomorrow. As, by the way, I'll be live in Landrum tomorrow at Ingles. In the big city of Landrum. Diesel was going to come, but he didn't know how to get to Landrum, so he said, I don't know how to get there. So
yeah, I didn't know if the smoke signals could reach that far. That's usually what I do. I just look out on the horizon.
Yeah.
I look for the smoke signals that Cole and JJ are sending up, and I just go there.
The real story is we are short a producer, but
yes,
we'll go with the other story.
Cole, there's a coach in college football that you and I have hammered pretty hard on this show about being, unscrupulous. And maybe the story is going to change some people's minds. It's not necessarily scrupulous. What's the opposite of unscrupulous? But
I don't know if any Tolo out there knows what scrupulous means.
But it does trustworthy. But it does make me respect this coach just a little bit more. We'll talk about it next.
Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Cole, you're an outdoorsman. You may be uniquely qualified to answer this question.
Oh boy.
If a bear scats in the woods and there's no one around to smell it, did it actually happen?
If you find it. If you find it,
okay.
If you find it, going back to the old tree falling in the woods, how else would it have gotten there? You know?
Yeah. I think if you hit a hole in one in golf and you can't walk out onto the green and take your ball out of the hole, did you actually hit a hole in one?
If you hit a hole in one and you can't take it out of the hole, what do you mean by that?
So let me explain here.
Okay.
You know that Nick Saban has a reputation of being a pretty tight disciplinarian.
Yeah.
This story, I don't know when exactly it broke, but Steve Sarkisian and Pete Golding, when they were on Nick Saban's staff, had a tendency of sneaking out of the offices when they knew that Nick was sneaking out of the offices to go play golf. Like Nick would, 2:00 in the afternoon, he would disappear. He wouldn't tell anybody where he was going. He would disappear and he would go play golf for a couple of hours.
I like it.
Come back. And Pete Golding and Steve Sarkisian figured out what he was doing.
Okay.
And then they, I guess, had a network of spies to find out where Nick was going to play golf that day, because there were only 2 golf courses in Tuscaloosa, Alabama for him to go to. And they would go play golf at the other golf course, which, we've hammered Pete Golding on this show, especially for the way he handled the whole Luke Ferrelli situation. But I respect him for this.
Okay.
I respect him for risking the wrath of Nick Saban to go get in a round of golf. What do you think?
No, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing.
Okay.
Do I blame Pete? Are you asking me, do I blame Pete Golding?
I'm asking, do you respect Pete a little bit more for being willing to take the risk?
No, I just saying that's Pete. Like we've learned in a few short months who Pete Golding is and kind of what we think of him. And that what I'm saying is it just doesn't surprise me. That kind of fits the narrative, doesn't it? In terms of how we kind of feel about the guy. Not saying he's a bad guy, but he just, I don't know. He just seems like one of those kind of guys that will do what he wants, and it doesn't really matter if he you know what I mean?
Well,
it relates well with this whole recruiting scandal with Luke Ferrelli.
Where this ultimately is going is that Pete got word that Nick was heading to Golf Course A in Tuscaloosa that afternoon. Somehow he got his wires crossed, and he booked a round of golf at Golf Course B, but the wires got crossed. Turns out Nick Saban was actually also at Golf Course B. And he told the story about how they were teeing off on a par 3, and the hole that Nick Saban was on was the adjoining hole coming back the opposite direction. So a very, very risky scenario, like very, very close to getting themselves caught. And it got even closer because Steve Sarkisian, they said, you know what, we'll just tee off, we'll be quiet. Nick will never even know that we're here. And of course, that's when Steve Sarkisian proceeds to hit a hole in one.
Oh,
hole in one. And the golf pro that Nick was playing with saw the ball go into the hole, and he's like, "Yo, who hit that shot? Who hit that shot? That's a hole in one. That's amazing. We got to talk about this." Steve and Pete jumped into their golf carts, drove down into the woods to get away from the eyes of the golf pro
as they should
and Nick Saban,
as they should have,
which sounds great, but you can't celebrate your hole in one.
No.
You can't tell anyone that you got a hole in one, because then Nick Saban knows that you're playing hooky from work.
And see, I think if it's something that dramatic, you probably just have to bite the bullet and apologize, but also celebrate.
Be like, "Hey, coach, I know I ducked out from work, but I also hit a hole in one."
Be like me. It'd be like me leaving early or something, or skipping work and it'd be like me telling our boss I was sick. And I'll give you a great example. Here we go.
So
hey,
is that
boss.
where you were at last time?
No, hey, boss. Coming up in September 15th on a Tuesday evening. Yeah, I'm going to be sick that day. Now, if you see me post a picture of a big deer that night on Facebook, I still, I just wasn't feeling well. I went hunting, wasn't feeling well. I'd be like, pretty equivalent.
It's
No,
fresh air.
it's
You gotta go out and get
opening.
fresh air.
It's opening day of deer season
Yeah.
for archery. I'm going to the woods. I'm telling you, I'm sick. Kind of similar situation. What do you do with a picture of the buck? Do you wait till the next day to post it? Do you wait till the next day? You can't do that with a hole in one, right?
Right.
That's a tough situation.
Because everybody, if you hit a hole in one, I never have, probably never will. You want to walk to the green. You want to take the ball out of the hole. You want to take the photo. Like you're supposed to do
Yeah.
all those things.
Make it big.
And you can't do that.
I've done it in mini golf. Putt-putt.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's worth celebrating.
Pretty good.
Well, here's the problem. Word did travel pretty fast, and Nick found out that both Pete and Steve were out on the golf course instead of working the way they should have been.
Yeah. Yeah.
Story doesn't tell what their punishment was.
No, but I think in
Still
that
a great story.
it is. You have to kind of decide in that moment. Do you want to celebrate and take the punishment, or do you just say, you know what, screw it, I'm not going to sell? That's a big moment. That's a big moment. I think I'd celebrate it.
Now
Bite
the
bullet.
story is better than the hole in one. Like the hole in one story is great, but hiding from Nick Saban that you got a hole in one is an even better story.
If it were, you know what? Here's another thing about that. If it were any other coach, probably no big deal. But it's Nick Saban. You know,
I'd be like, Nick, you're supposed to be at work too.
Oh yeah.
We're all playing hooky
That's
here
right.
together.
Yeah, how you gonna blame me for playing hooky when you're playing hooky? I love that. Diesel, let's get into Major League Baseball. What did not happen for the Braves? We'll touch on it next.